Hello, everybody, and welcome to WSOE Online V Valorant. This is the Qualifiers Day 3, our final day of qualifiers to determine which 4 teams will be competing in the WSOE Online V main event next week. Fallout here, joined alongside a very, very special friend of mine, a special co-caster, and someone that you definitely know if you're a fan of the Valorant scene. It's esports Doug. Dougie Fresh, how we doing, my friend?
Oh, John, I'm feeling good, baby. Thank you so much for having me. I'm fired up. We're going to settle out which teams are playing for $10,000 next week. What more could you possibly want?
Damn straight, man. We got some great teams as well. Look, we got Time In. That's Ninja, Grego, and Co. You guys obviously know them. The multi-game champions and pro players all kind of assembling on Valorant. We'll actually be going live with them to kick things off. We also have Cloud9 White, who has been dominating this tournament. They've not lost a map yet, I don't believe. That's Cloud9's female team that has been looking near perfect, Doug.
Yeah, they've looked really, really good. And then we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about some of the other teams. You've got Complexity, who has had such a strong glow-up, if you will, right? And they've continued to improve time and time again. I feel like that roster's just now hitting its stride, and, well, what a perfect time to do it.
Did you just say glow-up? Is that what you just said?
I did.
Man,
I did indeed,
listen,
yeah.
Doug, I got to get on your Gen Z level. But speaking of Gen Z levels, I recorded my first ever TikTok yesterday. Ever in my life. Never thought I'd do that. And guess what? There is a social bounty that every single one of y'all need to know about. $5,000 will be added to the already existing $10,000 prize pool if and only if we can achieve the following metrics. That's right, $1,000 per metric. If the WSOE TikTok featuring yours truly hits 1,000 likes or 1,000 comments or 1,000 shares, that's $3,000 from TikTok. And then there's also the WSOE pinned tweet currently on twitter.com/WSOE. If that pinned tweet reaches 1,000 likes or 1,000 retweets, $2,000 more will be added. That's a total of $5,000 that can be added to the prize pool overall, which is awesome. I had to sacrifice my, I don't know, should I say masculinity or my boomer card to make a TikTok to do this, Doug. Have you seen the TikTok yet?
I have. Listen, man, if you're going to put Fallout's face on something, I'm not going to be the fool that doesn't look it up. I listen, I know my way around the block. I know if John's on something, you got to check it out. If you have not looked it up, I highly recommend you do so, even if it's just, again, to look at that dapper face of his.
You know, I appreciate that, man. Listen, you are the gas man 3000, and I'm like right back at you, man. It's a pleasure to be casting Valorant alongside you. This is a long time coming. We'll try to keep the bromance to a minimum here, just because Doug and I have known each other quite literally for years. I mean, years plural. We've been talking, and early on, Doug, when you were trying to break into shoutcasting, you sent me over your reel, and you're like, "Hey, what do you think? Am I any good?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? You are just as good, if not better, than any premier talent I've worked with." And it's amazing to see you blowing up in Valorant, man. So congrats to all your success. I'm excited to be casting alongside. You're going to carry me through this stream, let's be honest.
No, I appreciate it. That's high praise. We are loading into Ascent. I'm really freaking pumped about getting this bad boy going. You see the teams, you see the compositions. John, this is going to be a good one.
Damn straight it is. Time In versus Snowmen. We did these two rosters. I think it'll be a great matchup, and I know a little bit more about Time In than I do Snowmen, so we'll of course be breaking down the gameplay for you throughout, but in case you are maybe new to esports or just watch Valorant, Ninja, Morgasi, Kurt, and Grego, all of them come from different games. Yes, Grego was on, I believe, Cloud9's Apex Legends team. Kurt was on T1. Morgasi, well, you maybe heard of him from Fortnite. Ninja, you might know who he is. I don't know if you do. This is a team of multi-genre pros who've done it across a variety of FPS and third-person shooter titles. Ninja obviously did it in H1Z1, did it in Halo, and a variety of games. So I'm excited to see what they can do in Valorant. Obviously, we've been watching this team. They've been teaming for quite some time, since the beta in Valorant way back in June. This team kind of assembled. We're on board with Ninja to kick things off here. What are we seeing from a first-round perspective, Doug?
I'm liking this look from Snowmen early on. So we already saw a good bit of utility have to be used by Time in response to the pressure that Snowmen was using. You saw a couple of smokes go out already. Again, just drawing out some of that early utility. That should give Snowmen a bit more room to work with across the middle of the map and hopefully establish some semblance of control on the attacking side.
Yeah, and it looks like then, as you say that, Snowmen are going to be pushing up towards B side of the map. A side of the map, as they're currently pushing an opportunity, going to find a good pick, or at least a couple good shots put in to start things off. It's going to be Schauker playing as Jet. There's the first pick that's going to come through. It's a 2-for-2 trade, making a 3-for-2 trade in favor of the defending team. So I believe, the attacking team. So the attacking team with the slight advantage right now, Doug.
Yeah, Snowman has managed to get the spike down. The problem for Time In here is they're both coming in from the same side. I love the turret utility there from Ninja to try to create a bit of a buffer. Danny goes in, gets one, Ninja gets the other. Time In should get the defuse.
Well played and well defended. Ninja with the rotation as Killjoy all the way over from the other side of the map is going to do the trick into 2 versus 2. So despite the bomb getting planted in round number 1, it is going to be the defenders. That's Time In. Ninja and Co. win the first one as we saw a relatively aggressive A-side push. However, going into round 2, obviously we'll see an eco come through from the attacking team, and I think you'd expect more of the same. Ninja playing over towards B-side with his duo, that's Sova. Doug, what can we expect here? It looks like a very A-side heavy eco round for starters here, with Cypher rotating over as well.
Oh, and that's the interesting thing. On the attacking side, once you're on the pistol, you can play it a couple of different ways. You can hit something hot and heavy, right, and just like blow utility and try to play force in numbers, or you can play for picks, spread things out. It seems like Snowmen here want to go for the initial of those two options. Again, a good bit of noise being created over on the A side of the map as they try to draw out some of the utility, and then they're going to reassess on how they want to play it. The one difference is you see the Jet on the side of Time In has already established some of that tree room control to try to prevent that. The paranoia is going to come out. They're going to dash their way into the site. Snowmen should be on A here.
That's exactly right. Looks like they're going to take A early on. Kurt and Morgassi going to get some picks. That's a double for Morgassi. 2K coming through. Still alive. Little Omen on Omen action. Churms gets one. Ninja's going to get a pick on the rotation. An easy peasy lemon squeezy just to clean up on aisle 5 for Ninja.
And it was interesting. I'm pretty sure, and we'll take a look here in a moment. Yeah, I think Snowmen forced there. They bought better guns into that round. So they're going to, that's so devastating. And you roll the die, right? On the attacking side here for Snowmen, you choose to force up. You've got to win that, or you find yourselves in a potentially 3-round deficit, maybe even 4, depending how the rounds play out. So it was a big risk, and it didn't pay off.
Yeah, that's right. I noticed that early on as they got 1 or 2 picks, I believe with an SMG. And, I just assumed, kind of called it's going to be an eco round, as you'd think that'd be the wise decision to make. So now as a result, not really managing their economy well are the Snowmen. And this is going to be a little bit of a snowball here for Time In, as they should be able to win the next round or 2 based on economy alone. As now, I believe all members of Snowmen did eco with just pistols here. I think I didn't see any SMGs or anything purchased.
No, they shouldn't have very much to work with financially at all. Defensively for Time In, it's a pretty standard look, right? Some slight differences to what we've seen before, but by and large, it's pretty comparable to what we've seen in the past. Ninja's going to anchor over by B. He's going to have all of that Killjoy utility to really delay things. And I love where the Sova's playing here. You've got to understand that when you have control of B with all of that utility, you play for retakes. You can rotate over, and that's exactly what they're doing here.
Yeah, Ninja on the defense, though, of course, as KJ, one of the best sentinels and defensive agents in the game. Obviously, very, very prominent as of late. I mean, it's going to come through. Ninja with the solid defense, but he's going to get taken out by the Omen. So, rotation coming through from Danny, who decided wisely to kind of back on reset, wait for some team support to come through. The bomb will go down on this eco round. So, this is an opportunity here. 4 versus 3 for Time In. They will just slow play this retake. It should be in a good spot. Danny gets one. Easy wall bang. Kurt gets another. That's former T1 Kurt, might I add. Again, I mentioned earlier, coming over from Apex Legends and formerly playing on that T1 God Squad in Apex. This time, it'll be Morgassi who gets the last pick. And again, I just got to keep saying, as the defuse is going to come through here, Doug, the storyline for this team, I don't think there's another team in all of Valorant, hands down, let alone in all of esports, that has a roster comprised of pro players or former pro players across 6 or 7 different titles. I mean, Halo, H1Z1, Fortnite for Ninja, and we got Apex Legends for a variety of other individuals. It's darn impressive how well talented this Time In roster is across a variety of titles, Doug.
Yeah, and I think one of the impressive things about that is that means you have championship pedigree, right? It wasn't just that they competed, but they were successful in their respective titles. Now, Time In has struggled to replicate some of that same success in the Valorant scene, but they consistently are showing up where it matters.
Exactly right. Looks like this. Ult's going to come through. Kurt's trying to get a little cheeky with it. Gets 1 pick, not the 2-for-1 trade that he would have wanted with that Jet ultimate. So now we will have a 4 versus 4. And finally, after that weird round 2, oh my goodness, aggression coming through from Danny and Sova. Nice pick from Omen. He gets taken out right after. 3 versus 3 situation here. Morgassi neutralizes, making it a 3 versus 2 in favor of the attacking team. So opportunity to finally get a point on the board here for the attackers as Time In. It's Ninja on Killjoy and their breach currently on the defense here. Looks like, based on the minimap at the top left, A is well covered, but the B plant is coming through.
Yeah, it seems like all Snowmen needed was a little bit of money in their back pockets, a little bit of moolah, the ability to bring some firepower into the fight. That should be able to give them room to funnel onto B. There's no utility there from Killjoy to worry about, no trips really to kind of keep them at bay. You saw Ninja on the minimap starting to consider potentially working his way in through Garage, but it looks like probably the wiser of the choices here is they're going to push in together through Market.
Yeah, wise decision to go through Market. Now let me ask you, Doug, obviously you've casted a lot of Valorant. In this situation, 2 versus 3 retake, a KJ, and a Breach. What are you doing here? What's the best optimal strategy? Continue to push through Market? What do you think is the best way that they can potentially sneak this round?
Well, that certainly helps right there, man. Taking Shoker out there is absolutely huge. That obviously equalizes the numbers, but I think the one thing we have to keep in mind for Showman is they have that Empress. That can easily turn the round over. Dusty's going to get one onto Ninja, drop things down 1v1 here as Grego trades it out. The shots are going to come through. A 3K for Grego, and they should get the defuse time and continue to pile it on.
You gotta be kidding me. Ninja obviously contributed by getting, I'm not sure who it was, but down to low HP. Grego cleaned up and did the rest, though. That was actually a 3K from Grego, who I've been so incredibly impressed by throughout his entire career. You know, I've actually had a chance to play some Valorant with him early on in the beta, and obviously casted a lot of his gameplay in other titles, but he is just one of the most remarkable professionals. Obviously, I mentioned earlier, came from Apex Legends, played on the Cloud9 squad. I think it was Cloud9 back then in Apex. Before then, played a lot of CS. Made the decision to retire, even though he was on top of the Apex scene, to go pro in Valorant. And guess what? Since then, he's been so incredibly good. I think he's one of the most underrated players, in my eyes, in professional Apex Legends, and it shows right there with 3K.
I'll keep a close eye on Snowman here. 5 ultimates. You've already heard the Bladestorm has been used. See where they decide to play that out. They try to work their way in cat. They try to work it in the middle. Here's the Blade early on, trading one out, but the gunfire from time in is just too scary.
And here comes the Tremor coming through. It's going to be a perfect ultimate coming through for Grego, but Chorms is able to get him with a Deagle, or sorry, a Sheriff. Despite being stunned, not going to matter though. Kurt, with the op, was holding by his lonesome, was able to get a 2K and close that one out. So nicely placed in timed ultimate. I like the strategy coming through right there with the quick flash. And he obviously traded 1-for-1 against a Jet who did pop their ultimate. So that was a good trade. Definitely an advantageous in the hands of the defenders here in that round. And as a result, time in will go up 5-0. Looking great right now on defense here on Ascent.
And that's the thing about this map, John. Ascent lends itself towards snowbally performances, right? Teams can rattle off a number of rounds in a row, and that's exactly what we're seeing out of Time In. We have to keep in mind, I mentioned Snowman, they had 5, but Time In has 5 of their own, and they're using that lockdown early on. But it looks like, doesn't look like anyone's home. Snowman's on the other side of the map.
No. Just playing, or sorry, Kurt's playing a little bit up with that op, deciding to switch it up. Ninja and Danny going to pick up one. I'm liking the diversity in strategy and defense here coming through from Time In. We've seen a variety of some aggressive. Obviously, we saw some jet plays coming through in the first pick. A variety of mid-map pushes, leveraging that breach flash, and as a result, they're up 5-0. And like you said, very snowbally indeed. We've seen what Sentinels, for example, on this map has been able to accomplish in First Strike and other tournaments in the past. We'll see if Snowmen can find a way to turn a snowball into an avalanche and gain some momentum here themselves.
Oh, but they've got to be careful. They're outnumbered, but it looks like they might want to try to push through the spawn. Yeah, it looked like, I mean, they have the spike. They already been playing to get the spike down. It looks like they're going to just try to put the matter on a Time In and try to get a couple of kills. That doesn't pan out. Now the spike is down, but they're severely outnumbered. On top of that, Time In has managed to control a number of very pivotal parts of the map. They should be able to push it well. Time In do have the advantage.
Yeah, you know, it's really, really interesting. That is what us casters call a cheeky type of play. They could have gotten that bomb planted, that spike planted much earlier. Instead, they're going to get eliminated, and Time In will be able, in a 1-versus-1, to potentially win this round. But I can't believe it came down to this, Doug. It's going to come down to Sova, currently sitting in Hell, looking for a 1v opportunity against, I believe it's Kurt. And there you have it. Churms is going to get it. The attackers are somehow going to turn that round on its head, despite the late spike plant. And despite the cheeky attempt to push into spawn that resulted in nil, in zilch, in nada, they're still going to get the win there. Some way, somehow, the 3-versus-5 is going to come through, and Snowmen, as the attackers, are going to put a point on the board.
And here's the kicker. Oftentimes, when you see an attacking team get a spike down and they have a Hunter Siri, they play off of the site because it's imperative that they stay alive so that they could include that factor in the defuse. He was playing in Hell. right? He wasn't even off of the site playing safely. He managed, and Snowman across the board really managed to pick Timon apart, and they keep the ultimates. That's huge.
Massive. Really a round that should have been won by Timon. Should be 6-0. Obviously, shoulda, woulda, coulda in these scenarios. That's why you love Valorant. The opportunity for clutch plays, the opportunity for one player like Grego did a couple rounds ago to clutch up. Frosty says, hey, Fallout, it's my turn. He's going to get one. That's going to be a headshot picked up on Ninja mid-map. Now, in a 3 versus 4. Last time Snowman did it in a 3 versus 5. Well, guess what? Now it's going to be a 2 versus 4. Kurt on the op. Not looking great for Snowman, but they've done it before, Doug.
They have indeed. You saw the Hunter Fury used earlier on in the round from the middle of the map to try to clear out tree room. And that what that does is that kind of lures time into thinking that that's where the hit's going to be. But as you see, they're working their way in through the garage. They're going to have easy access onto B, and it's going to be on time in to play retakes. But Danny's already dropped.
Yeah, there's the pick that they needed. That was the entry frag on the plant over here, over towards B side. Nicely placed on default. Reach ability right there. Here comes the push though. The 2K opportunity not going to happen. Grego Maengo shuts it down for Dave's My Waffles. Nice job by Grego as he's going to get the defuse as well. This is a monstrous game, #1 here for Grego. Really, really a good performance. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the former Apex Pro, former competitive Counter-Strike player turned Valorant Pro player and aficionado, Grego himself.
Yeah, a very impressive, very strong performance. And again, for time in, because they've been able to amass such a big lead, they've got money for days. Kurt has an op. He's going to be able to carry in a good bit into the next round. Grego's going to have a ton as well. They're sitting real pretty here.
6-1 lead. But we do know, we've said it before, and we've seen it time and time again. I mentioned Sentinels earlier, but a lot of our pro teams in Valorant and previous tournaments, First Strike, and the like, the ability to snowball on ascent is something you can never obviously factor out here. You have to press and push on the control down. There you have it. Just picked up from Frosty. It's going to be one pick.
I know
that's
exactly
going to be now an opportunity to maybe snowball this round into something greater.
Yeah, and you'd love to see that. It's a slight variation of what you commonly refer to as a flash and dash, because it was the leer that came out. It wasn't a paranoia for a moment or anything like that, but the concept is the same. They are able to get through. They get onto the site. They have firm control.
Now with Kurt. Op still in hand. Kurt so impressive with that op, and there you have it. Quick peek, quick kill. Now 4 versus 3. Kurt's going to look for the second over. Greg is going to get it instead over a cert. And now, almost just that opportunity. No, Kurt's actually going to hit the wall bang right there on Dusty. He takes out the pistol and says, I'm going to clean this one up. No, my duo, Grego, is going to do it instead. Timon's going to win it. Actually, no, they're not going to. Yeah, they are going to hit it here. Ooh, just barely. Nice shot by Timon with 3 seconds to spare.
Well, it's just been so dominant from time in, and here's the thing, John. We've seen them excel in retakes. We've seen them excel in fending off initial pushes. After investing a little bit of utility as well, you've seen them frag out and get the kills that they need. A strong performance from Kurt. Morg has gotten in on the action as well. It's just been a complete performance for time in so far.
Couldn't agree more. I highlighted Grego as an individual player earlier and his kind of hero performances, but you're spot on, Doug. I mean, it's really been the entirety of this squad. Kurt on the op, Kurt on the early push with ulti. I think that was round 3. And then, of course, we've seen Ninja with great defense come through. Danny makes some plays on Sova. Across the board, I've been impressed by the entirety of his time in squad. They've been playing alongside each other for a while. I know Grego, Ninja, Morgasi as a core 3 have been playing together since beta. And then, of course, Kurt joining this squad recently alongside Danny. I've been really impressed with his time in squad. I hope they continue to progress.
All right, Snowman here after getting punched in the mouth a couple of times already. Looking for success on again. That was it. Again, it was a flash and dash, but this time Kurt's able to stuff it with the op, still holding it down. He's going to get paranoid and push back. They should be able to get on the site.
Yeah, and so far, Timon's had an answer for everything, but this is the only thing that's worked so far. That was the 3 versus 5 that they had over on the A side of the map here. They're going to actually use drone to find a spot over in Hell, and that's going to clear out Hell. Here comes an ulti as well. Here comes the push. There's one pick going to be picked up here for Danny. Make it a 2K. Can they make it a 3K here? Opportunity? No. Ninja's going to clean it up instead. And just like that, Timon with the easy retake, courtesy of a well-placed ultimate from Breach. That's why you save your ultis, my friends, as the ulti from Breach is going to set them up for success.
Well, and that's the thing that's been so impressive about Timon up until this point. As I was mentioning, they've succeeded in retakes, and this is the first time we've seen them invest the Rolling Thunder in order to get it back. So you often think of the Rolling Thunder as one of the, probably the most effective tools in creating space and taking a site back. They've succeeded time and time again without that, so now that you see that in the fold, John, that looked effortless.
Absolutely. And I think effortless is a good word in general to define the performance right now from Timon. I mean, the one round that they did lose, Doug, was a round that, again, shoulda, woulda, coulda here, but could have easily been won, as they did lose a 5 versus 3 kind of numbers advantage on defense, which you don't see happen very often. Obviously, kudos to Snowman. It was a clutch play. Nice shot by Snowman, speaking of which, clearing out the mid side of the map, making sure that there's no cheeky pushes here coming in from Kurt, who I believe it does have ultimate on Jet. And here comes a recon, which is going to tag 1, and they know that they now have Garden clear. I think they'll use that intel, that recon, as a chance to push.
Grego dropped early on. You see Snowman on a bit of a mix by the Bulldog in the mix. There's the lockdown. It's going to create some space. And it's dropped instantly. He drops instantly. The lockdown drops instantly as well. Snowman absolutely negate that ultimate.
Yeah, and the retake's going to have to come through here. They should get a plant momentarily, but they have to kind of clear things out and be cautious first. Cherms, who's in my opinion has been the MVP of this Snowman squad. Been very impressed with some of the early picks. First bloods picked up by Cherms throughout this one. Currently trying to see if he can get a cheeky pick through the Cypher cage. Frosty's going to get the pick instead, though. So speaking of breaking ice, Frosty's the one that's going to do it in this 3v3 kind of standoff opportunity here is now. 3v2. Spike's picked up by Frosty. Dusty's going to pick up the elim. Frosty's going to close it out. That's a 4K for Frosty, and just like that, the attackers are going to get another point on the board. And Doug, they keep doing it by playing the A side of the map here. It seems to be the only thing that's working.
Yeah, they seem to be very comfortable there. And again, when you know that you have a bunch of Killjoy utility on B, you want to play away from that, right? Don't even deal with the turret. Don't deal with the alarm bots or the nano swarms. And I think one of the key things that went down there was they were able to clear out the Omen and Wine, right? If he's left unchecked there, that can be absolutely devastating for Snowman. Timon had a chance. They had something going on there, but very impressive by Snowman to get onto the site, to clear their way through, and negate the retake, with which we've seen Timon be so good at.
Yeah, a few rounds here till halftime. From what you're seeing so far, Doug, what's working well for Timon, or sorry, for Snowman? What should they continue to capitalize on as they're pushing? Looks like they're pushing through courtyard here instead this round.
I like this because we haven't seen them try to establish mid control very much at all. And there are times earlier on in the map where Ninja was dropping an alarm bot across the middle of the map to ensure that nobody was working their way up. We're not seeing much of that anymore. Now they in this round they have somebody there, but that hasn't always been the case. But again, if it's worked for Snowman, they're going to continue to hit it again. That's why you see them investing a bit more over towards A.
Well said. I'm liking the teamwork from Morgassi and co over towards the A side. That was Tree, a cheeky push coming through from Reyna, trying to be that entry fragger that's needed, and instead it was the stuns and the flash that was able to give the easy pick here. I think it was for Morgassi. So that's going to be first blood in favor of Timon on defense here. Snowmen with yet another hill to climb if they want to somehow steal yet another round. Looks like they're congregating towards the A side of the map. A will be the push, and Sova's going to get that intel. Sova's going to rotate over from B. Ninja gets one on the opposing team, Sova. Here comes an opportunity for Shauker to try and get a pick, and that's going to be a nice one over Kurt. That's a 2K picked up by Shauker, just like that. 3 versus 3 situation. Beautiful plays from Jet on the entry.
No charges.
Yeah, and again, it was really opened up by that paranoia from the Omen to create some room, but now Timon, as we've seen him excel in the past in another situation. There's the utility. Ninja's able to get one. He gets the third on the round as they continue to hunt for blood. A 4K for Ninja. Timon get the 9th one.
Well played from Ninja on KJ. That's going to be what's needed. And moving around, that was looking a little scary for a second there as Jet, aka Shauker, was able to make a play, get a 2K, and make it seem like we'd have an interesting round. Instead, Ninja shuts it down real quick with some solid LMG play, and just like that, 9-2. As we just have a few rounds left here in this first half, do you think that Snowmen have what it takes in your eyes, Doug? Not to get ahead of ourselves by any means, but to try and mount a comeback on defense? Or do you think that, Timon really you said it's such a momentum-based map, do you think the momentum for Timon will be enough? Or, yeah, for Timon, sorry.
It's a hard ask. I think at this point you want to try to get yourself, if you can get to a 9-3, maybe 8-4 would have been nice. But the nice thing for Snowman, is that they do have the Cypher utility that can help lock down a site individually, much like we've seen Ninja with the Killjoy do it on B really this entire half. Now You see Ninja working his way up across the middle of the map. This is a different look, John. We haven't seen them play this way.
Yeah, I'm loving the variety. They're kind of stepping on the throats, figuratively speaking, of course, to try and catch them off guard. And they're not necessarily resting on their laurels, as here comes the push from Snowman. Frosty gets the first pick on Grego. That's a big one. Again, I kind of gave Grego that MVP title for this squad so far. He's been playing so well. That's a good first entry pack to get. Shauker's going to get another one. It continues to be Shauker who pushes and entries, but the ultimate's going to come through from Danny. That's going to be one 3 versus 3 fight will suffice here, Doug.
Well, here's the thing, John, is this is no different from what we've seen the entire half, right? They flash their way into A. They dash their way in as well. They manage to get the spike down, and then Time In finds himself in a spot where they can retake. And so far, so good. Kurt able to get one. He's going to swing out to heaven as they continue to fire in through the gate. They're going to drop down hell as well. This is so difficult for Snowman here. And again, it's like deja vu. We've seen this before.
Yeah, same song, same dance. Take me back to prom here, as it looks like Time In continues to roll with what's just working really, really well, which is a combination of one thing I've been very impressed, a combination of abilities, right? The wombo combo, if you will, to stay on brand here for Riot Games titles. From what we saw right there, the quick pick from Kurt right after getting the recon mark from Sova, aka Danny, and I've seen a lot of great flashes picked up into kills. I've seen a lot of really good teamwork from Time In, and it goes to show, again, I mentioned it earlier, and as we were kind of setting the stage for these teams, Time In's been playing together for a very long time. Doug, I know you've cast them for a while as well. Is it evident that they just simply have more experience, more chemistry as a team than Snowman? Is that a fair statement?
Certainly on the defensive side, I think you'd be hard-pressed not to agree with that. I will say for Snowman, it's not like they were playing like individually or they weren't using their utility to get on the site. They were doing that, but Time In just played the retakes masterfully time and time again, John.
That's exactly right. We'll see if the story can stay true here as sides are going to flip. Here comes our first initial coming through from Time In. Can they be as successful on offense on the attacker side? They're just slow playing this. Here comes the cheeky push, and that's going to be a beautiful pick from Kurt. Look at that. Just completely embarrassed Frosty there, recognizing with the intel that was needed. Now he has Jet hurt as well. Shauker putting himself in a dangerous spot, playing aggressive despite low HP, and actually Time In's going to make the wise decision here, Doug. They're going to run with a wide rotation through mid-side map instead of just completely bombarding A-side.
Yeah, and I think for Snowman it was different, and you've got to try something here, knowing that you're as far back as you are. You see them aggressively pushing through A, narrowly getting away there, but they had to try to throw something in there. They'd had to try to give him a different look, and for Time In, it was just easily stuck.
What we just saw right there from Shauker, I mentioned it earlier, it was foreshadowing perhaps how aggressive Shauker, aka Jet, was playing despite being low HP, needed to make a play to neutralize and make it a 4v4, and did, and in some way, somehow, is able to dodge the bullet with a little dipping and dodging from Kurt, who doesn't miss very often. Huge plays coming through from Shauker. I've been very, very impressed. Obviously, no heals on the Snowman side. So very low HP is Jet. Plant's going to come through over on B side, 4v4 retake here. Dusty's going to get one, make it a 3v4.
Oh, that's big. But Ninja there to have the wherewithal to close the door. The spike is going to go down, and now it's going to be on Snowmen with their pistols to try to get a retake. Keep a close eye on the flank. Ninja able to get one, assert on the swing. Yep, to trade it back. There's just one left on the side of Time In, and he's hold all the way back in that Bose house as you see members of Snowman funnel their way in. A 3K for Dusty, and they are going to get the defuse. A third round for Snowman, and a desperately needed one here to try to get back into this map.
You know, you hit the nail on the head with that last comment. Desperately needed indeed. The point I wanted to make, and not to belabor a point by any means, but that play from Shauker, aka Jet. We start off, and we always talk about momentum, but Time In gets the first pick. Beautiful play from Kurt, and it looks like a round that Time In can sneak away if they would have just committed that rotation, but instead, it's Shauker, aka Jet, on Snowman that was able to get a low HP pick, by the way, wins a 1v1 against Grego, and then finds a way to turn that corner, avoids getting killed by Kurt. That was the play of the round, and that was the potentially, if Snowman wins this map, that was hands down the round of the map that might turn things around for Snowman, but it's a big might.
Yeah, there's still a real tall mountain to climb here. Once again, Time In investing a lot, showing their hands, if you will, on the A side, but it's not just a fake. They fully committed. You see Curtis already dashed onto the site. They're going to be able to get the spike down around some early smokes. This is what we were talking about in the eco in the first half. Attacking teams can play it a couple of different ways. Time In showing that they're very comfortable in just running down their throats.
See if they can close it out, though. Well, as they now Currently do have bomb down, 5v5, retake opportunity for Snowmen. Good smoke's gonna come through from Kurt. Here comes the blind, here comes the push, well placed, and here comes almost a pick, but no, Kurt's gonna shut it down. Dusty gets one right after, neutralizes, Shocker gets another. 2 versus 2, now left into a full 2v2. Jet and Sova for Snowmen, Diffuse gonna come through, he'll get it half.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, but he's going to have to dash out. That's a big pick there from Churms, and they're just going to hunt down Danny. Drop things down to a 1v1 pick. And they did get it to half. Choker, excuse me. Able to get the kills that were needed, but the spike is going to... That was absolutely insane, John.
What a play from Danny. Looking absolutely heroic. Turns the corner, gets the shock dart that was needed. And that was a high-risk, high-reward shock dart, by the way. Literally sacrificed their life, hoping, kind of living on a little bit of a prayer that that shock dart was going to connect. Of course it did. Radius too strong, and they actually did not get the defuse halfway. So even if that shock dart did not... If that shock dart, I think they assumed that Spike was halfway diffused, and they kind of went all in with that shock dart, but that was not necessarily needed from Danny. So again, high risk, high reward. Instead, Timon gets the win. Nice round coming through from Timon on round number 2.
Yeah, it was super well played. You saw them force up, and it was worthwhile. They also played the post plan so well. They had a couple of members down A long, so they could provide a little bit of additional cover fire. There were really good crossfires in Hell under A as well. They were just so well set up.
The plays from Danny, a.k.a. Sova. Well played and well done. Now, 11-3. 2 rounds away from a pretty decisive victory and sweep here in the losers bracket for Timon. As we will see if they can close this one out. The 4 spy, as Doug mentioned, did suffice. And here comes the playthrough mid. Notice the difference now between Timon and Snowman. Playing through mid way more, leveraging the greater map. And that is going to not necessarily net them a pick just yet. Not that first ball they were looking for, Doug. Let's see how they play it now. Do you think they'll rotate back?
Yeah, it looks like it, and that's big because that paranoia was used from Snowman, so that's not going to be a factor anymore. It came across the middle of the map thinking that that's where the push was going to come to delay anything going in through market, but they had pulled out just in the nick of time to avoid that.
By the way, I did mention earlier, we are in the losers bracket. Timon lost to Elysium, who's going to be playing against Cloud9 White on stream after this. Elysium's been looking great. Cloud9 White's been looking great as well. I'm excited for that matchup, but of course, we got to finish this one first. Timon, can they close it out? 2 more rounds to win this one. Kurt's going to push through. Over on A side, no one there. Actually, no, I take that back. Sorry, there was a... Right around the corner was Reyna. Nice pick from Kurt. Ninja gets one right after. Danny gets another. That's going to be a 4v2 swing in favor of Timon. Retake by a Cypher and Sova is going to be necessary.
And a difficult task, to say the least. Snowman was set up well to fend it off, but we'll see if they can pull things off here. Dusty, up from heaven, has the Sheriff. This guy flashed up, tag back. Kurt goes up. Kurt drops Dusty. Timon get to match point.
There you have it. That's 2 rounds won. Timon is proving that there is no imposter here. No imposter syndrome either. We know Ninja's confident. No such thing as imposter syndrome for this man, as well as the rest of this squad. As really it's been Kurt who's performed incredibly well as of late. I was giving a lot of highlight and praise to Grego early on, but since then it's been the Kurt show, which you'd expect as Jet as an entry fragger and of course as their opper. Been very, very impressed. Speaking of that op, did Jet, aka Kurt, pick up an op here on offense? We'll see if that's the case. It looks like that's not the case, as he's going to be holding on to that SMG.
Yeah, they'll bonus up. And that's a smart thing to do here, right? Knowing that your match point, you have a huge lead. If you can win it here, great. But if you don't, you still have plenty of money to work with going into the following round. So I like this from Timon. They also have that Hunter's Fury. We'll see how they choose to play it. Kurt dashes in. And see, John, here's the problem, is that Timon has been able to do that almost every single round. Snowmen have been set up well. Their setups look good. Their set pieces look good. Their executes are fine. But they just aren't pulling things off like they need to. Now they're going to have the lockdown in from Ninja as well to deal with. This just went from bad to worse for Snowmen very quickly.
Yeah, it's been impressive. Kurt has been playing with such confidence, and this might be the round to close it out as a retake will be needed from Snowmen. Shocker's going to get one, though. It's going to help. 4 versus 4. And thank goodness. Oh, he's going to... Oh, great shot's going to get put in, but it's not enough. Frosty's going to get the pick. Danny gets the pick on Frosty right after. 3 versus 3. Here comes an ultimate. Is it enough? From Danny. Not yet. And Ninja is going to be the one to clutch up with a quick headshot. despite being low HP, gets taken out and neutralized by Assert right after. Now, Assert trying to get the 2K if he can. Gonna get flashed. Grego gets the pick. Actually, no, it's Danny. Danny's been the hero this round. 1 versus 1. 2 bullets left, or 2 HP left for Schalker, and it's not gonna be enough. Danny clutches up with the 3K to close that one out. I've been so impressed by this time in squad. They will win this one, making it look like a loser's bracket round 1 matchup. 13-3 in this best of 1 series. Well done from them, Doug. Any closing thoughts on your end?
Man, that was brutal. I think that was just a very impressive performance from Time In. I was trying to break this down in the middle of the map, but it's not, Snowmen were playing the map well, right? They weren't easily giving Time In access on the defending side, and it's not like they played the first half poorly either. We saw in the second to last round, they were posted up in tree room. They had 2 members there. They knew where Time In was going to try to push in through to get access to A. So it's not like their preparation was poor, but they still weren't able to handle the gunfire. They weren't able to handle the sling prowess from Time In, and it was just too much for them to handle. And I think ultimately, John, that was the big difference. That was the telling factor, and you see that discrepancy in the final score.
Congratulations to Time In. They will advance, and guess what that means? You previewed them, maybe foreshadowed. Time In versus Complexity will be our next matchup. So we all know Time In truly believes that they are a top caliber pro team in Valorant. Well, they have a chance to prove it against this Complexity roster who's been looking great. Like you said, they've been on their quote unquote glow up. I'm trying to, learn my Gen Z speak. And again, speaking of Gen Zers, social media is kind of a thing. TikTok. I did my first TikTok yesterday, and guess what? If that TikTok video on the @WSOE TikTok reaches 1,000 likes, 1,000 comments, and 1,000 shares, that'll be $3,000. That's right, $1,000 for each metric that will go towards the prize pool. And then, of course, if the WSOE pinned tweet reaches 1,000 likes and 1,000 retweets, that's another $2,000 for a full total of $5,000 that would be added to the existing $10,000 prize pool. So please, 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 if you want to do these Valorant players a solid, you want to do them a favor and add 5K to the prize pool. Yes, that's an additional 50% to the prize pool. Just go ahead and like or retweet or comment or share the TikTok and or Twitter post. Doug, I know you had a chance to watch that TikTok. Have you already liked, shared, commented?
I have watched it. I have not done that, but rest assured that during the break, that's exactly what I'm going to go do. I'd be a fool not to.
I love it. So I did mention earlier, we will most likely be seeing a Time In versus Complexity matchup coming up next. Complexity hasn't technically won their losers bracket matchup, but they're in the lead as it currently stands. So we'll see if that will be the matchup. We're going to take a quick break as that match finishes up. Potentially, we will have Time In, Team Ninja and Co. going up against Complexity right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to WSOE Online V Valorant. This is the Qualifiers, Day 3, the final day of Qualifiers, where we will determine our 4 teams that will be competing in the main event next Tuesday, January 26th, starting at 3 p.m. Pacific time. But for now, it is Fallout joined alongside Esports Doug, as we just got done with match number 1. Ninja and Time In dominate their first match of the day, Doug. They'll move on to play against Complexity in our next match.
They will, and honestly, Dominate might be selling it a bit short. And that's just how impressive a performance it was from Time In. They really played well on both sides of the map, and they won in a couple of different ways. Again, it wasn't just they are going to be one-dimensional in their playstyle. They were able to win through retakes. They were able to win through fragging out. They were able to win through really everything that the game has to offer, so they've got to feel really good going up against a star-studded Complexity roster.
Yeah, now's the big challenge. I'm excited for this matchup. Before we jump into this match in a minute, I want to also just use this as a quick reminder that you can increase the prize pool by $5,000. We're almost at our first bounty or metric. Yes, 10% of the way there. The tweet just got posted an hour ago. We're already at 100 likes near on the WSOE pinned tweet. So literally, just go like that tweet, retweet that tweet. If the retweet mark hits 1,000, that's another $1,000. If the likes mark hits 1,000, that's another $1,000, and so on and so forth. And that's just on Twitter. The same thing is true for TikTok, where we do have some great progress made on TikTok as well. So make sure to go and like, share, retweet these posts if you want to do these Valorant players a solid and get $5,000 added to the prize pool. But without further ado, our match is just about ready. We got Complexity, we got Time In. Doug, I want to hear your predictions, man. Listen, I'm a big fan of bold statements. You got any bold statements for me? Do you think Time In has what it takes?
I do have a bold statement, but it is not that one. Unfortunately.
What's your bold statement?
Well, here, I think Complexity should be able to handle Time In relatively easily, to be honest with you. I think here's the thing about Time In is they've looked very good, but really from the beginning of this roster and all of the different iterations that they've had, they had Lex on the roster for a while, and then he ended up leaving as well. Like, they have struggled against the big names, right? When it matters, and they've had success. It's not like they've skunked every single time, but they have struggled to put up consistent performances against these top tier teams. And Complexity, again, some people may not have them at the top 8 of North America or anything like that, but they're no slouches at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, Complexity, I'm trying to look through in the Smash GG bracket right now and find out where did Complexity lost to Balanced Esports. And Balanced Esports, of course, consists of a roster of well-known players: Simpui, Denya, Bossy, Valen, and co. So, you know, obviously Balance is a solid squad. Complexity's shown some weakness in this tournament, so I hear you loud and clear. They should be able to readily handle Time In on Haven here in this best-of-1 series, but you can't count out Time In simply because Time In's looking great, but also because Complexity's shown some weakness here, Doug.
Yeah, they have, and the one benefit for Complexity is that the weakness that they showed was on Split, which, mind you, just went through a very massive overhaul. I'm actually pretty excited to see if we're going to get Split at all tonight, but they are going to be going to Haven. It's a much more traditional North American bread and butter, right? We see teams very comfortable on this map. The 3 sites allows the attacking half to just have so many different options, so much more diversity in how they want to play the maps. This is why oftentimes you'll see the attacking side get out to a good lead. So I think the key here for Time In is get ahead and get ahead big. Don't give Complexity a chance, because if they get to 7-5 at half and they're down going into halftime, going into the attacking side, Complexity's sitting pretty.
So here we go. Haven's loading up. We're going to have matched and mirror team compositions here in terms of agent comp. Ninja will still rock Killjoy as a sentinel for their squad. And meanwhile, on the Complexity side, it will be a GM. I'm excited for this one. Complexity versus Time In. It's a great story. You know, I wouldn't necessarily hyperbolize and call it David versus Goliath by any means, as we know Time In is a team of capable individuals. But if you're just joining us for the first time, first off, welcome. Thanks for being here. Second, this Time In squad, if you maybe have only watched Valorant and haven't necessarily kept up with a variety of other esports, consists of 4 players who played professionally across 7 different titles. Ninja, of course, H1Z1, Halo, Fortnite, now, you know, obviously pursuing Valorant professionally. Kurt, obviously having played Apex Legends on T1. Grego having played Apex Legends on Cloud9. This is a team of very, very talented players. Morgassi, obviously, we know what he was capable of in Fortnite as well. Team of very capable players against this Complexity squad, obviously former CS players. I'm excited to see what they can do. It's kind of a mixed bag of individuals versus a well-practiced tac shooter squad in Complexity. Doug, any more insights here as we get heading to round one?
Oh, I think it'll be interesting to see how Timon play this. So it looks like they're setting up to do something B. There is the alarm bot right outside of the site, but what we often see on the attacking side is the team with the spike just gets in, and you see it already. They're setting up for it. They put the spike in the hands of the Omen. What he does is he tellies in into the smoke, plants, and then gets out. And what that does for the attacking team is they just play through chaos, right? There's utility thrown all over the place. They have to watch their flanks. This is a 50-50 coin toss here in the first round.
Yeah, that's it's a wise decision, and not only do they play through chaos, but they also kind of flip the script and they turn offense into defense here as they're now defending this bomb. Kurt's going to connect for a double. Danny's going to get one right after. So just like that, a solid start. Morgassi connects for one last individual, and now the hunt is on, finding that Sova in spawn, and it will be a nice pick. 3K for Kurt, and just like that, a solid round number one for Time In. That's a big one. Obviously playing on offense and attacking here, they're going to steal one off the rip.
And again, that play for the attacking side is intended to be chaotic, right? They get the spike down, there's utility thrown all over the place. They have to fight through the smokes to try to get space to get the defuse down if you're on the defending side. Complexity, however, they didn't play it that way. You saw they actually didn't throw any utility across B. They worked their way in through garage, and then Kurt was waiting there with wide open arms. So it was a different defensive take. I think Complexity, if they focus more on B and like fighting through that utility, potentially a different outcome. They just funneled right into Kurt. It was just unfortunate for them.
Unfortunate. Also, I've been impressed by Kurt. Not going to lie. Kurt playing as Jet, entry fragger, opper for this team, kind of the playmaker, and that's one thing I love about Valorant. Obviously, you have playmaking ability, you have roles that exist based on weapons, but then you also have team compositions. You can give Jet to your best player. It's almost like the number 10 in soccer or European football, as it's called. You pay that respect, and typically you'll see Jet as that entry fragger, as that top slayer. I'm excited to see what Kurt can do now. If he can continue to roll here. They're going to opt to save a bit here in round number 2, as Kurt's just going to slowly back this up out of A. And it looks like they're going to be content rotating back to C. They drew over a rotation slightly, and just slightly here, as it looks like Omen's a little bit shaken up. Number 1 on your screen in the minimap at the top left of your screen, playing towards Garage. So they're not going to fold. I think a wise decision from Complexity to hold their defense.
Yeah, and they drew out the Nanoswarm from the Killjoy. As soon as they made noise, you saw the Killjoy activated, but that's never where they wanted to go. They wanted to work their way into C. Again, a flash and dash. The Paranoid comes out, the counter does as well, but it doesn't connect onto anyone. That's going to allow really chaos to ensue across the site. Grego's going to get the spike down. It's going to be, it's a difficult retake here for Complexity.
Yeah, Grego gets the spike down, but takes some casualty. Well-placed shock dart coming through from the Sova on Complexity. And speaking of Sova, he's going to connect for a Marshall pick right there after. Location revealed. Easy peasy for Complexity. And I like the retake there. I like the shock dart that really entered things, followed by the easy pick with the Marshall. Just like that, Complexity is going to hold on here in round number 2, as they did force. We were tied 1-1 going into round number 3.
Yeah, they looked really good. I think AGM with the Sheriff, they were able to get a couple of very important picks. So the nice thing is, too, once again, on the defending side, if you're trying to retake a site, you want to be as multi-dimensional as possible in your approach. They were able to bring in people through Garage and through the defending side. You even saw the consideration of work all the way down C-Long to be able to pinch in from that side as well, and it just developed a bit too quickly, and there really was no need, right? Complexity looked really good on that retake, again, because they were able to hit from multiple fronts, but Timon looked really good on the entry as well.
Heading into round number 3 now. We saw an attempt to play for A last round in round 2 that was thwarted, hence the rotation back over to C, but Complexity did a good job kind of standing strong over towards C side, and then of course playing the retake with courtesy of some great Sova plays. We'll see what we see now in round number 3. Take a look at the defending side for now. Watching Garage is Ohai, currently anticipating, but no one's there. Obviously, still that A-side push, that A-side decision, and it looks like this time they're going to actually execute on A. And just taking a look at the top left minimap right now, you'll see Grego on Phoenix, Kurt on Jet, and that's the first pick. Grego's going to get it, and that should be a rotation coming through. A will be the play, the execution coming through.
Oh man, but they've just fallen apart. They were able to trade it out, but Complexity's at a numbers disadvantage here. It looks like they cloud bursted the Killjoy turret on the entry into A, and that's how they were able to get in as far as they were without getting any picks, but keep a close eye on the flanks. We were talking about this in the previous round, but this time it's going to have a chance to develop a bit more if you just bought a bit of time. XP3 drops, and this is putting Complexity in a situation where they can pinch in from the attacking side, right? But again, they're at a deficit here.
And that's a good trade right there for time in. That's all you want to do is trade out kills. Kurt's going to get yet another. No need to trade when you got Kurt in your team. He's going to get one pick. Ohai, though, clutches up, makes it a 1 versus 1, makes things interesting. Morgasi versus Ohai. Currently down towards low side. We got a little Phoenix on Omen action. Blind's going to come through. Here comes the push from Morgasi. Currently sitting on high ground. And he's just going to buy time here. A little ring around the rosy. Pockets full of posies. And that should be enough. Yes, it will. Nice job right there by Morgasi. Does just enough.
Oh, but the fact that Ohai was even able to get the shots enough to kill him, and like you said, it was very well played by him in that he just bought time, right? That was, yeah, if you get the kill, that's great. But what he's looking to do there is just buy enough time, delay the defuse, so things pan out exactly the way he did. But Ohai was really Herculean in his efforts there, able to get a 3K, managing to isolate that down to a 1v1 and land the shots on there as well. That was almost filthy.
You know, listen, as a Greek, I appreciate the reference to Hercules. Please keep it coming. You know, more Greek gods. If you want to talk mythology, we invented democracy. Please keep it coming. No, I'm just kidding. That, Herculean is the only word, probably best word you could use. That was impressive from Ohai. And I might be blanking here, but if I remember correctly, was it with the Bulldog that he was able to get the first pick? Or at least the first 2 picks? I'm not sure if I completely made that up, but I think I saw a Bulldog at the top right kill feed. So well played right there from Ohai, regardless, if it was a Bulldog or not.
Yeah, it was a Bulldog, and he really played it masterfully. And again, just to buy time, right? Buy time, get the spike to continue to tick away, force the attacking team in a really uncomfortable situation. It was very well played. And for Complexity, that was big because had XP3 survived just a bit longer, you give that flank time to develop. You give it your team really a chance to show up and to impact the play where Timon is not necessarily expecting it. So it was razor's edge there, but XP3 dropping early on really just kind of put things sideways.
Quick pause here. Players call to pause for a second as we are now jumping into round number 4. Time in on offense. Obviously, this is one of the maps with 3 sites. We talk about it often, but a little bit more attacker friendly, more options, more opportunity. But so I don't think you can draw any conclusions necessarily just yet. I think we got a good match in our hands. I hope this one goes the distance. I hope we see a crazy finish and a crazy game here. Obviously, much different than we saw against Snowmen in match number 1 by time in. But it looks like Sharky's going to be holding over towards C long. Omen nearby as well. They're stacking C right now as they're anticipating the C execute, and they're anticipating well. You see the push through garage. Actually, it's going to be Ninja through mid towards B. As you see on your minimap at the top left of your screen. Keep an close eye on that minimap. That'll tell all.
So what we're seeing here unfold is time in along C, and this is very common when you have the Hunter's Fury. You see Danny has it available, and he's not the tip of the spear, much like we talked about in the last map. In this situation, you need to stay alive. You can't afford to die so that you can hold that retake. A big opening pick for Morg. Oh my gosh, but Complexity rip them to shreds. They're able to get 3 time and fall apart. But Ninja still in the fold. He's got a Spectre to work with, but the problem is the spike is down, and it's down in the middle of the site. Complexity can just squat on it. They know exactly where it is.
Yeah, and I love first blood's going to come in for time in, so it was actually perfectly executed. They're able to pull aggro on that individual towards C long, just enough to get first blood, but instead it was Ohai with the double who was able to clean up in C long, and that's going to be the wrap-up. Ohai performing very well, as you'd expect, as we're used to seeing him do. That's going to be 3 kills for Ohai in that round, on top of the 3K Ohai got the round before. Call him Mr. 3K. Let's see if he can keep rolling here with that total of 6 kills. And one small note to point out, not about that last round, but about the round before, what Ohai did to the eco and the overall economy of time in by getting that 3K, it was crucial. That could have been a snowball. That could have been really a absolute snowball in favor of time in terms of overall economy. But Ohio was able to shut that down, and obviously did the same thing the round after.
And as you said, now time in is just bringing in pistols. I think there was one judge that they were going to be bringing into the fold, but by and large, certainly not the position they want to be in. And again, this is very common in eco situations. The chaos that comes in, you get the Omen in, try to get the spike down, and then get out. But the problem is, if this goes sideways, John, you're up a creek without a paddle. The spike is sitting right by the generator. It's almost impossible for timing to make the way in.
And Kurt's able to get actually a pick with just a default pistol. Let's see if they can turn this into something. 4v3 on a pistol round from time in. Some way, somehow. They try going for the same cheeky plant that they got in round number 1. This time they were ready for it, but it's going to be Ohai. Recognizes, hey, let's just not panic here. We do have a good situation. Kurt's going to get one, though, after he picks up the Vandal. Just like that, 3 versus 1. Jonah last alive. Jonah. There's one. Jonah gets the first. Jonah's looking for the second. Wisely, Kurt's just going to back out the reset. Kurt says, no, I'm going to ego challenge you. And instead, Kurt picks up the kill. And that is a thrifty round right there for time in. That is huge for them to have stolen that one with what started with a really bleak beginning. They ran the same exact play trying to get the smoke plant in off the rip from Morgassi. Didn't work. And then somehow Kurt was able to get a pistol kill and turn things around.
And it was Kurt and it was Danny that unlocked that map. Kurt worked Kurt worked his way up garage. He was able to apply pressure from C-Link, and then the Hunter's Fury that we had talked about in the previous round, it wasn't used in a post-plant situation, but it was used to continue to pile on to the havoc that happened on that B site there. That gave time and enough room to work. That allowed them to get the thrifty round win, a very important one here, because we've seen these two teams trade rounds the entire half.
3-2 lead right now in favor of time in. Wall's going to come down. No one on A. They could have executed, but obviously... no one's A short. Omen's going to come through and smoke, but no one's A long, and of course no one up in heaven. That could have been a 3v1 on Killjoy. Obviously, you know what you know, versus these players are consistently trying to anticipate the other and read the opposing team. We've seen quite a few times now Complexity stack C, but now they're going for more of a default setup, and as a result, Sheriff in the hands of Ohai, they will be posted up, seeing if Ohai can try and get a pick.
And Complexity does have 5 ultimates to work with, so, I mean, they could introduce that here. They could bring it into the fold and see if they get something spicy going on. This is a good smoke here. Ninja should have the gun advantage, but just on the other side of the smoke with the Sheriff lands a shot and delivers the kill. Ohai wins that duel.
30 seconds left.
And Ohai doesn't even have to heal. Ninja didn't back for a shot. Ohai. Shark is going to get one. Danny gets taken out. So here we go. Another thrifty round thrown right back in the face of time in.
They sacrificed
as you finally feel like time in's gaining some momentum. Great job by Complexity right there holding on. It was really the first frag, first blood from Ohai. Close range with the Sheriff connecting on the kill over Ninja. That was huge.
Yeah, and really, Timon tried setting it up well, right? As soon as Ninja had contact in Garage, they worked their way up C-Long. They tried to hit both spots at the same time, but it was just very well played. And Complexity used 3 of the ultimates that they had brought into that last round. We talked about whether or not they would do that, knowing that they were on a really hard eco, but Complexity having the advantage, go ahead and they invest those resources, and it pays off tenfold.
Careful now.
Now Ohai's just going to spray and pray, gets one off the rip. I've been so impressed by Complexity's Ohai with, I think, 9 kills now. XP3 going to follow up with one right after. So this should be a round win for Complexity. But again, you never want to rest in your laurels in Valorant. Some things that makes it so exciting to watch. 3v5 situation here. Phoenix, Jet, and Sova. We know Grego is capable on Phoenix. We know what Kurt has done with the ultimate out on Jet. And then, of course, Danny's been quite a playmaker as well. Repping Sova. Oh, misses the first few knife opportunities. And now they're spotted. They have the intel, and you got to think Complexity is just going to collapse here towards mid.
Yeah, you would think they're starting to funnel in, but I just don't know that they fully know. Now that alarm box went down, that's the cue. AGMP, Jonah P gets in on the action as well. Nice shots from Danny to try to equalize some of this out. But John, in a 1v4, we've seen crazier things. As you said, that's why you never really count a team out. I guess it's doable. That's a hard ass though.
It is. 2 missed op shots. Make it 3 missed op shots for Sharky. You don't see that often from Sharky. So Danny's able to actually kill the Opper for now. That's 2 picks for Danny. And Danny's trying to do what Ohai did a couple rounds ago. Trying to just kill the economy right now of Complexity. Shock darts will certainly help. That's actually going to be a recon dart. I take that back. Gets the intel. 2 back B side. I think they only spotted 1. Checking corners. Here's the opportunity. Danny gets another. That's 3. Can Danny do the unthinkable right now? 3K already for Danny. Has to plant ASAP. Not going to be able to get the plant off, as the pick is going to come through. but a valiant effort. I don't know if I'd call that Herculean. You know, maybe I'd call that like a little. I was gonna say Aristotle. That's a philosopher. What's the god of war? Now I'm blanking at my own game here. I'm struggling. Apollo. That's what I was gonna say. Apollyon.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of not doing math on stream, which I learned early on. Like, you just don't do it, right? Don't risk it. You find yourself in a spot where you're unsure. I won't touch it. I knew Hercules, right? That was my sweet spot.
You knew Hercules.
Beyond
That's
that,
the easy one.
On your own.
Yeah, you've seen the Disney movie. You took the easy one. I went for the more difficult one. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to start doing some, Greek mythology quizzes here in the chat. Want to hear what y'all about this playing? Go decide. Kurt's going to get the first pick with the op here, so that's exactly what was needed. Get the op in the hands of Kurt. I believe that was A-Long. Yes, it was. So the first time, I think that was the first time we saw an A-Long play for complexity, and Kurt's right there with the op to answer.
Yeah, Ohai's on the flank, though, but the run it back has been used, and that just creates so much space. Complexity have to play back off of that so they don't risk any of those trades. That's going to allow Morg to get in effortlessly and get the flank down, but the lockdown is used in exchange to try to continue. It's going to be used to try to space, but it is destroyed. Kurt gets one onto Ohai. Things looking pretty.
Nice shot by Kurt, waiting for that flank. Grego now, flash out. Oh, AGM's going to spray right to the flash, and the Opper's not going to connect. Pistol's going to do the trick instead. Well done from the attackers. We're tied 4-4 right now, so listen, I predicted Time In to win, and I know Doug said, you know what, Complexity's too good, looking too strong, but so far so good as we have a match in our hands here. 4-4, we're tied up here with Time In. Time In playing very well, all things considered, on offense, on the attacking side.
Yeah, they have. But again, for Complexity, you want to keep it respectable at half. If you're in the lead, then you've got your icing, you've got the cake, the icing, you've got everything you could possibly want. But a win here is getting 7-5, is getting 8-4. Complexity's really already achieved what an ideal situation would be.
That's true. Kurt now trying to get the same pick A-Long, but, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Not going to happen. Ninja gets one, though. Danny connects right after. Ohai and Sharky both dead. As the two players you want dead based on their performances right now. Ninja gets another. Really good round from Ninja coming through. We all know Ninja's capable of it. No, it's going to be Jonah gets out off over Kurt. Goes for the second. Wallbang, not going to happen. Ninja's going to get the plant through. 3 versus 2. Now the retake, 2v3. Let's flip it in favor of Complexity. No. There's the wallbang coming through from Jonah, but he's going to get taken out from Morgassi right after.
A good trade. XP3, the last one standing. He's got some health. He's got some health, but not a ton of armor to work with. I like that fake telly there. Get him guessing. He's going to swing, but Morg welcomes it with an op to the face. Time In. Get the 5th round.
The winner of one of the first Fortnite LAN tournaments, that was PAX West way back in 2018, turned professional Valorant player Morgassi with the double kill, aka the 2K right there to close that out. Right after Ninja got the 3K to open it up. So a solid round, solid entry fragging from Killjoy. That's just another day in the office for KJ, I guess. Entry fragging for their team. Nice job by Ninja.
Yeah, nothing to be upset about there. And again, Time In now on the attacking side. They have 2 big ultimates to work with. We'll see if they invest that lockdown. We see some of the smokes already early on being used across C-side and across the middle of the map. Some utility used across B window to ensure that nobody's encroaching their way in on the side of Complexity. They have fully committed to this A site here, John. That's exactly where they want to go. They're even opening up with the drone. There's the lockdown. Their intentions have been made perfectly clear.
Kurt's going to get one. That's a big one in hell. And obviously all members of Complexity rotating over, but they're going to have to retake here. It's going to be Omen up in heaven. Grego's going to drop a wall, buy some time, and I think there's actually someone still in hell. I didn't realize that. As it's a 5 versus 4, and retake is needed. 5v4 in favor of Time In. Let's see how XP3 plays.
And he just doesn't have a lot to work with, John. Working that ghost. Jonah's on a Marshall, so he doesn't have a ton to work with as well. And Time In should be able to just pick them apart. Sharky gets one with the Blade Storm, but that's really all she wrote. As Time In get the 6th round, they're going to continue to balloon their lead here, but now it's on Complexity to respond. Now they're going to have guns. They have ultimates to work with as well. This is their time to really fight back.
Absolutely loved how Time In played that right there, recognizing that Complexity is going to be in an eco round. They opt for an A rush, execute quickly. Obviously, the first op pick from Kurt over towards, I think it was Hell or Heaven, I think it was Hell, is what opened things up. And then they just took their numbers after that and took advantage of the fact that it was an eco round for Complexity. But now we're all squared away here. If everyone's full buying, And you have Ohio with an ultimate doing Ohio things, trying to push up, seeing if he can get one. He's going to get blinded immediately, and that's going to be a run it back. That's not going to net much for Ohio. A smart decision, though, smart effort, but nothing's going to come from it.
Yeah, not only does he not get a pick, but you don't see anybody follow that up, which you can see teams using that ult do at times. They invest it, and it's a gamble, right? It's a risk. It's a high risk play, but they follow it up. This time, Complexity just staying at home, not investing, not really risking anything.
So I'm interested to see how Timon decides to play this. They've executed A 2 rounds in a row, and they've just had Kurt staying patient towards A long. But guess what? Killjoy, the Sentinel, is not going to have it, staying way back up in heaven. So they could execute A here, and it looks like that's the decision that they're going to make. The rotation's going to come through. A's been working well for them, so more of the same for time in. And it looks like they'll be able to do that with success as Phoenix Omen still over towards the C side of the map. Cheeky little recon dart going to come through from Danny. Some intel, and then you'll see the execute follow, but it looks like Complexity is aware of it. Jet's going to rotate in, and will try their best to maintain control. Here comes the ultimate from Greg.
Yeah, Grego uses that. The Hunter's Fury is going to be used as well to try to create some space. Checking that tight cubby corner. Grego's not going to get anything, and again, there wasn't a ton of follow-up. Now, the problem for Time In is they're out of time. Oddly enough, they have to commit to this side, and if things go sideways, there is no plan B. They do manage to get the spike down, but Complexity has the numbers advantage.
Shock Dart's going to come through as well. AGM with the 4K. Can you make it 5? Killjoy on defense. That's what Killjoy does. And it's not going to be AGM. It's going to be Jonah that closes that out. Well defended from Complexity. And it was obviously a decision made to leverage that run it back ultimate, and really with a lot of fear. I don't think they realized that Killjoy was by the lonesome up in heaven. And that run it back didn't really net them as much space as they needed there. I think they could have leveraged, Greg could have maybe pushed a little bit further in to get some more space, to get some more intel, but instead it was really just a play that AGM made.
Yeah, I mean, a 4K there for him. Certainly set up for success. But I think the interesting thing here is, John, again, we talked about that Hunter's Fury, how it's often used in post plants, this time using it to clear that out. And then we saw him alone at the end of the round there, with maybe, had he had that, he could have had a chance to delay the diffuse and try to get something going. It unfortunately just wasn't a resource anymore. It wasn't at their disposal.
Danny's going to get the first pick. First blood on Jonah. A little Sova on Sova action. Nice job by Danny with the wallbang. Danny, obviously playing as Sova, has been quite the entry fragger for this squad, both in our last match against Snowmen and here as well. Speaking of entry fraggers, Grego, what you got? That run it back didn't net much last round, which I talked about, but slowly and patiently playing A short now. Of course, against a Killjoy, you got to check every corner, play it incredibly slow. They do have numbers in a 5v4. They just need to trade out kills here. Easier said than done. Here comes the A execute. Turret's going to go down, and they'll get the plant off.
It looks like they're just playing for retakes here, but AGM with the lockdown. That's the thing, is when you're playing off the site like that, and you have the lockdown, you can afford to play off. There's no Hunter's Fury to blow that up. They're going to try to hit a couple of shock darts. You just saw the first one connect, but it looks like it's going to buy enough time. A couple of op kills go sideways. Complexity has the numbers advantage.
Yeah, well placed. And nice try from Grego, but not able to turn the corner fast enough here. Diffuse is going to come through. There's a smoke here. Danny is going to get the pick. Diffuse is going to stop. I don't think they got it halfway either. So, nice shot by XP3. It's going to be all eyes on Ninja. Last alive, and has time to buy himself. Ninja's going to get tagged up, at least recon at least a little bit. And that'll be the pick from AGM. Diffuse coming through. It will be defender 1 round. Courtesy, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. It was foreshadowing, or it was obvious, one of the two. The Killjoy ultimate, the lockdown was enough, and they executed perfectly on the retake right after that went off. And Grego, unfortunately, was not able to return that corner, stay alive long enough, and buy enough time. Instead, Complexity ties it 6-6.
And again, it was them playing off, right? They had that luxury. They had that in their back pocket to where knowing if they like to go there, which we saw Time In hit that site a number of times throughout that first half. If you know that they have an inclination to go that way, just play off of it. You saw the Killjoy turret as the first line of defense, the contact point, if you will. Once that goes off, you know where they're going, and you even saw AGM wait a bit, right? Like, Time In was on the site, and then he dropped down the lockdown. They had to pull back, so it was just very well played by Complexity.
Look at complexity. Sorry, look what Timon is doing. Stacking on A side and really banking on the A execute. Or a flank coming through all the way around from A, as Killjoy, aka Ninja, is going to hold C by his lonesome. It's interesting, and again, a cheeky strategy off the rip here. Here comes the push. Ninja's just trying to survive as long as he can. That's what's called a failed strategy for now, at least, as obviously they still have a chance towards a retake. And perhaps they'll prove me wrong the entire time, as they're just going to now try and work a flank through C side, but didn't get the picks that they would have wanted.
But Ninja played that correctly, understanding where his team was and the flank was coming in through the defending spawn from A. He just rotates off the site and gives it up. That gives him time for him to pile on with his team and get them in a situation like this. Timon's numbers were just too much for complexity there. They're going to win the pistol.
Yeah, kudos and well done from Timon. So decide to go to stack A and kind of hoping they'd be able to get a pick. They didn't get that pick that they needed, and then it was just a clean retake. And on the clean retake, obviously 4 individuals coming from the opponent's spawn, which probably caught complexity off guard. Timon's able to secure the round win. So that's 2 initials won by Timon. That is huge in terms of momentum shifts. Well played from Timon. I continue to say it time and time again. This is a team that's been playing for a long time. Morgasi, Ninja, and Greg, at least as a core 3. Kirk got picked up right after, and then Danny to follow. They played with Lex for quite some time early on. That was kind of the original duo, was Grego and Lex. And then since that core 3 kind of came together way back in the beta and some of the early tournaments, they've just gotten better and better. They've really improved. Great chemistry as a team. I've been impressed by Timon.
They've been impressive indeed. They look good in the first half, but again, this is where they need to deliver. Now that they're on the defending side, how much can they fend off from this onslaught that is complexity on the attacking side? A couple of kills being traded early on. Complexity a bit worse for wears. Jonas just down to 13 health, but Timon still in an advantageous position.
Yeah, well done from Ninja right there, able to bait the turret over towards B, but also well done from Ohai getting the trade out. So 4 versus 4, C execute is coming through. And that's going to be a nice flick of the wrist right there from Ohai, getting the pick on Morgasi. Grego gets taken out by Sharky right after. AGM gets another, and now it's just going to be all up to Kurt as Jet running his way over, trying to do what he can. He has an opportunity here. And there it is. That should be a pick. Yes, it is. Kurt gets 1. We'll see if he can continue to roll here. 29 HP and only 29 HP. 6 bullets and only 6 bullets. And we'll see if anything he can make anything of this situation, as all members of Complexity are going to wisely just back off site. There's 1 for Kurt, not going to get it. Bulldog's too strong, and that will be a round 1 for Complexity. So again, Doug, just to reiterate, Timon has won both of the initials in each half, but Complexity has won both of the second round following. Nice shot by Complexity, stopping the bleeding from what could have turned into a momentum shift for Timon.
As much as things change, they stay the same, and this is very reminiscent to what we saw in the first half, John. Both of these squads haven't been able to get something going. They haven't been able to rattle off a big chunk of rounds. It's been traded back and forth. We saw that in the pistol and the eco in the first half. Now we're seeing some of that again. It was a wise force-up. It was a wise buy from Complexity there.
So here we go, 7-7. It has been just a swinging of the pendulum in terms of lead changes, momentum shifts, as we have had tied game or nearly tied game throughout the entirety of this matchup. If you're just joining us, first off, welcome to WSOE Online V Valorant. This is the qualifiers. The top 4 teams from today's qualifier will make it to the main event next week. We are incredibly excited for that one, but guess what? We got to get there first. We got to see which teams will make it. Cloud9 still in this one, of course, in the winner's bracket alongside Elysium. And then we got Complexity and Timon on one side of the loser's bracket, with the other side of the loser's bracket occurring as well. It's Easy 5 versus Big Frames. We'll keep you updated on all things bracket here, but right now we got a nail biter between Complexity and Timon.
We do, and Timon on the defending side, not having a ton of guns to work with. They stack over to C, and Complexity is just going to waltz their way into A. There's just one member here for Timon. It's Danny. He's up in heaven, so he's gotten him information. They understand where the push is. You see the members of Timon start to rotate across the map already. This is going to be a brutal retake, though. XP3 getting the spike down early on. As the spike continues to tick away, you see a couple of nanoswarms coming in over the wall and some smokes dropping down as well as they funnel in. The paranoia comes out, the dash from the Jet follows up as Shark trying to cause havoc, but they're able to pick Timon apart. Just one member left, trying to defuse the spike, trying to make something happen. More drops. Complexity looking really good here as they take a 1-round lead.
So it's too early to tell what kind of a default or base strategy is going to look like for time in, but one quick difference we're seeing here in the defensive time in versus the defensive complexity is the decision to put their sentinel, that was complexity, over towards A, and of course leveraging that lockdown for retakes when available. However, on the time inside, Ninja, playing as KJ, has been playing over towards B and garage side. Obviously, that's been a slight difference here, as we did see in the first round of this half, a 4 push towards A from the defenders come through. Obviously, we haven't seen anything since then, but right now we got 2 over towards A side. Kurt there alongside Danny, aka Sova, as Ninja still playing over towards garage.
Keep an eye on Ohai. He's got to run it back, and with a stinger in his hands as well, that just really complements it very nicely. He's just able to run right at them, get a couple of kills, and try to cause some madness. The spike is still not left. The defending side spawn. The paranoia is going to come out across the middle of the map, baiting them into thinking, and you already see time in funneling their way into B because that's where they think the hit is, but Complexity has slipped their way in through garage, and it looks like they want to go C.
Rozzie's going to be forced off top box and tries to get a blind in, just kind of a desperate blind. Ohai's going to actually dodge it. Nice plays from Ohai. I've been so impressed. Ninja's going to neutralize the pick on XP3. 4 versus 4 now. Danny's going to with a team kill on Ninja. Kurt's going to follow up. Danny follows up right after with a pick on Sharky. That's worth. 3 versus 2 retake here. Actually, not even a retake because bomb wasn't planted. I take that back. Well played from Danny on Sova, and well played from Ninja to get the first pick.
Oh man, that was a huge kill as well to tip the scales even more in their favor. Ohai able to get the spike down, but Grego on the flank is able to sucker punch him and take him out. Time and win the round with the heavy numbers advantage as well. That was very impressive.
Indeed, and that's actually going to be an ultimate run it back for Grego. So I'd be interested to see if they decide to use that off the rip here, or if they decide to hold it for a rainy day. But Grego does have his ultimate on Phoenix, and you'll see a variety of other ultimates. Complexity, speaking of ultis, a run it back still in the hands of Ohai, as he didn't have to use it that last round. He was able to enter and get the entry frag without it. Jonah on Sova, and of course the ultimate from Omen as well. On the flip side, just a few ultimate points away from a few ultis on the behalf of the defenders. 8-8, we are tied up. I asked for a nail biter, and we got a nail biter so far. Close matchup here between Complexity and Time In. I think we would all agree Time In are certainly the underdogs in this matchup against a Complexity squad that's been looking great as of late.
Called to run it back, John. There it was. It's going to be used early on, but it's going to be negated almost instantly, and the run it back route the opposite side is going to be used as well to try to create some space. It's just an ultimate battle as the Hunter's Fury is used as well. Ohai able to get one with the hot hands as he creeps his way closer and closer, further up a long to try to create some room and take some real estate effect.
Kurt almost got a pick through the smoke right there with the spray and pray. That would have been huge, especially on their lead fragger. That's Ohai, who's been playing so well. Lights out from Ohai on Phoenix. Both, a lot of ultimates used, as you did call out already. And as a result of that, a round that had 3 ultimates in favor of the attackers in Complexity now is a clear advantage. Look at the HP right now. Omen with 3 HP, Jet with about 30 HP. It's looking to be a good situation right now for Time In. As I say that, a near pick opportunity for Ohai coming through. AGM is going to be the one to do it instead. That's the first pick for AGM. Here comes the execute on C. Ohai leading the way again, and oh my goodness, Ohai did not see what we just saw. Actually, there was a teammate, and the bomb's going to be planted by XP3 over on Omen, as they're going to be able to plant on C. Retake needed. But again, look at the HP of Complexity.
How's a foot race over to C. They get the spike down, and you already see 2 members playing off down in C long. They're able to play there from safety and provide suppressive fire, understanding that their teammates have a couple of less than ideal health bars. They're playing from the place where they can try suppressive fire, but if Kurt from downtown's able to do that, how do you really handle it? Complexity just down to Shark. He's got the op, so he's got a chance here to fend off the push. Time In has to go aggressive. They're able to clean up Sharky. Time In, we're going back and forth. It's like 2 juggernauts trading blows.
Yeah, exactly. You use the analogy swinging the pendulum. Now we're trading punches. I think no matter what analogy you use, it is certainly a great match. Let's just put it that way. And that round right there was a big swing round in terms of momentum. 3 ultimates used by Complexity. Every single one of them used. Kurt gets his ultimate. Ninja gets his ultimate. So Ninja, of course, will have the lockdown available for retake if needed. Let's see where Ninja plays here. Actually looking, Ninja's staying over towards Garage. So a different defensive strategy against, we mentioned earlier, but these are matched and mirrored teams in terms of team comps, but a different way that these teams are playing defense. Ninja, of course, playing with that Sentinel Killjoy pick over towards Garage. And now Ninja with an ultimate available. Kurt with an ultimate available as well. Kurt, the opera for this squad, has been roaming freely.
Gonna hold down. See Long was able to clear out that turret, but again, the hit is elsewhere. Look at Complexity already getting a couple of big picks as they try to crunch their way onto B. Much like we saw a couple of rounds ago, that's going to pull all the resources towards the middle of the map, and now Complexity have flexibility. They can commit here, knowing they have the numbers advantage, potentially try to draw out the lockdown exactly like that, and then they can rotate away. They don't have to commit to B. Timon has to go aggressive here and try to hunt them down. That's exactly what they're doing.
And here comes the push from Ninja. Look at the mini-map at the top left of your screen. Ninja is going to be actually spotted. Complexity's all over it. Ninja, of course, is Ninja got one. So that's a good first pick for Ninja. That's exactly what they needed. They needed to hunt one, and now Jonah's going to shut that down with the kill on Ninja right after. This should be a Complexity round. AGM is going to make those words come true with a pick over Danny, a.k.a. Sova. And now last member alive is going to be Kurt, playing as Jet with an op in hand and an ultimate that he likely will not use. No reason to waste it. And Kurt's going to be sitting up in heaven over towards A side. Meanwhile, he will just be trying to save that op. Wise decision from Kurt, as you could expect Complexity to try to hunt here momentarily.
Yeah, and you're right. They may try to hunt him down. Obviously, Kurt is pretty filthy with that operator, so you kind of run the risk of that going sideways. Maybe you just cut your losses and let it go. But I love the way Complexity played that, John. It was eye candy is what it was. Lure Timon into thinking that that's where the hit's going to be. Have them invest heavily into defending that site. You saw the lockdown come out, and then once Timon realized, well, shoot, we've been had. Complexity never wanted to go here to begin with. They had to go aggressively to try to hunt them down. They get a pick, but it does get traded out. And at that point, really, the round was done. Once that lockdown was used, and once Complexity kind of baited that out and then rotated away, things went sideways. Timon had no choice but to go aggressively there, and they got punished for it. So very well played from Complexity. They're going to have a lockdown of their own here. We'll see if they try to play this over on A, a very common spot when you have that lockdown available.
Brilliantly dissected from the one and only Doug. Again, honor and privilege to be casting alongside you, Doug. We've been talking about it for a long time, friends for a long time, and finally for the first time able to cast alongside each other. And thank you for kind of helping me. My first time having a chance to cast Valorant, actually, as I've obviously been a big fan of the game for a while. So I appreciate you carrying my dude. And thank you every single one of y'all watching right now. Much appreciated. Welcome to WSOE Online V Valorant. My name is Fallout. I'm the show host for WSOE typically, but having a chance to cast Valorant and enjoying the hell out of it. And of course, hands down, one of my favorite games, favorite FPS titles of late, and one of my favorite titles of the last few years. It's been a ton of fun watching the progression, the evolution of Valorant growing really in an organic way. As I say that, Morgazi's going to get one. That's a pick on AGM. Nice first pick from Morgazi. Here comes the run it back from Ohio. Ultimate's available. And that's going to be a pick from Sharky to capitalize on that run it back from Phoenix. They're going to have to cut their losses and back out here.
Yeah, AGM dropping there was big, and honestly, we saw Ohio set that up. Complexity knew what they wanted to do, invest heavily towards C early on to try to get that ultimate orb, get the run it back as a resource, and then play towards A. They had the lockdown, they had the run it back, they had what they wanted, but that early pick onto AGM really kind of foils their plans. Now Complexity has to go in a bit more dry, if you will. They can't really work their way up A as efficiently as they could have otherwise, and now you see them start to second guess some of this. Meanwhile, Timon has sent Kurt all the way down C long. So as you think through process of elimination, you understand where the push is and where all the members are. And when you've got Morgazi with an op like that, how do you find your way through? He's already got 3 Ohio with a big trade out. It looks like they may have something going on here on A.
Yeah, it's a big trade out indeed. Morgazi was feeling himself a little bit, and the shot dart almost going to connect. Of course, Ohio is tagged up quite a bit. Here comes the pick from Kurt. Jonah's going to get one on Ninja. 1v2. Bomb has to be planted. The bomb will be planted by Jonah. Now in a 1 versus 2. Opportunity to clutch here for the Sova. There's an enemy Sova right above in heaven. And then, of course, someone coming from A short right behind him. Oh my goodness, almost gets the opportunity for a headshot. Needs to pick their poison and picks wrong. Danny gets the pick. The better of the Sovas in that situation, as it's going to be an ulti point in the hands of Danny. Some rewards, some fruit for his labor.
You failed. Now flee.
Complexity, even with AGM dropping early on and not being able to combine the run it back with the lockdown, still managed to get onto the site, still managed to have the numbers advantage, and were honestly close to getting the spike down and establishing their post plans. It was subtle, but it was the initial shock dart that sent things sideways. It delayed Ohai just enough for Kurt, who had, again, worked his way all the way down C long, had taken so much space away from Complexity. That shock dart gave him just enough time to show up and really foil everything. So very well played by Time In. Complexity had a chance, even though things went sideways early on, they just weren't able to put the finishing touches on it.
Nice job by Danny, and I gotta say I've been impressed. Software engineering student, youngin', 21 years old, been performing very, very well. Ninja's gonna get the first pick off the rip. Jonah's gonna neutralize right after. So Ninja's finally playing over towards A side as Killjoy, goes for an aggressive early push, gets a trade out, and now the attacker Killjoy is planted. Jonah pushing up, trying to play patient here over towards A side. The A execute is here. Meanwhile, Morgazi is all the way on C, rendered useless. So this is a 4 versus 3. Slight numbers advantage for the time being if they decide to try and get a pick and take it, as bomb's going to be planted, and they will be in a decent spot here on the defense.
Difficult retake, but we'll see what Time In have in store. Jonah P is going to get pushed off. AGM gets the opening frag as AGM gets a second as well. First it was the lockdown, now he's doing some damage with the Vandal. Time In get picked apart. You see them already start to run towards the fences. They want to save those weapons into the next round. This round is for all intents and purposes won for Complexity. Ladies and gents, we are tied at 10 apiece.
Oh yes, we asked for a good match, and a good match ensued. We'll see some saves come through, but you better believe Complexity's trying to find some picks. Kurt's there and waiting, and it's going to be Kurt with the pick on AGM, and he survives, keeps the op 10-10, double digits apiece here for both teams as we are now in round 21, coming down to the wire. What ended in the first half with a 6-6 tie has now been a 10-10 tie going into our last few rounds of this match. Keep in mind, if you're just joining us, first off, welcome. Second, this is a best of one. Losers bracket. Lose, you're out. Win, you got to win one more match to be in to the WSOE main event, which will be next week for a numbered WSOE event. It's WSOE Online V, and ooh, Kurt is going to get, doesn't even need to get the pick. Morgazi is going to take it out instead.
Yeah, and you heard the Hunter series used early on to try to create some space, but a big pick, it did get traded out. So both teams are going to have equal footing as far as personnel goes. Complexity, they tried getting onto that ult orb. They got punished for it as one of their members dropped, but that's all it was. They're going to take the spike and they're going to rotate out. It looks like they want to go towards the middle of the map, but you already see Time In start to really gather here. Ninja's going to be on the flank on the garage. Keep a close eye on him. If that goes left unchecked, it can totally catch them off guard.
XP3 going for a plant on B, and the shock dart's going to come in. AGM is going to get one. XP3 gets taken out by Kurt right after with the op. 3 versus 3. Sharky is going to actually respond with an op kill of their own. Ohai's going to get a pick. Phoenix on Phoenix action right after. Now it's going to be Kurt in a 1v3 left to defend. Or sorry, left to try and get this retake over towards B. I think he'll decide to just save here. And nice job from Kurt. Managing eco very well for this team. I think this is the third save he's had with an op. Keeping his team in a decent situation overall in terms of economy. And Complexity will take their first lead in quite some time here. As again, we mentioned these teams are just trading punches. We did say, is it David versus Goliath? Maybe not. And these are two very capable teams, but Complexity, Doug, you'd agree, is certainly the favorite coming into this one.
I would agree, but man, Time In has been impressive. Like we talked about how the map tends to favor attacking sides, and Time In hasn't seemed to care as they've been able to fend off what Complexity has been able to throw at them. And we even saw there the confidence with which they're playing, right? They're tied up, they're in a close match, and they're they're playing as if they really don't care who's on the other side. Ninja, we talked about him in Garage, at a position to flank and really kind of cause fits for Complexity. Yes, it was well handled by Sharky, but the testament to how Time is willing to put the pedal to the metal. They're willing to play aggressively and create plays instead of just waiting for Complexity to walk into them.
This could be a swing here, as I think I saw a light buy round as Ninja picked up the Frenzy. Obviously, Kurt still has that op, was able to survive just barely that last round, but here comes the push. Morgazi's going to get one. Ohai's going to follow up. The Guardian in the hands of Morgazi. Ohai gets a kill on Ninja. Ninja's out of this one, but Ninja, I think, only had that Frenzy, as mentioned earlier. 4 versus 4. Bomb should go down momentarily. Here comes the retake for Time In. Can they do it with the Guardian in the hands of Morgazi, and I'm not sure what weapons in the hands of his teammates.
Oh, they're funneling in. There's a Stinger in the hands of Grego as he's able to take care of Ohai. That Paranoia came out early on. But look at how aggressively they have to push down C1. They understand how Complexity's playing this. Grego goes absolutely huge as he gets 3 time and have the numbers advantage. Complexity looks so good, but the defuse was taken right out of under their noses. We're tied yet again.
You gotta be kidding me. A light bought round 4 Time In, and it was Grego this time who says, hey, Kurt, thank you for the carry so far, my friend, but it's my turn. He gets 3 with the Stinger. Says, Fall, it doesn't matter what weapon I have, all right? Don't worry about what weapon I have. I'm going to put it to work here. Picks up 3, single-handedly helps secure that round with the retake over on C, and just like that, we are tied yet again, 11-11. You gotta be kidding me. Win or go home. $10,000 prize pool for the WSOE Online 5 main event next week. Complexity versus Time In. We got Cloud9 White in the winner's bracket, who has been looking great. They're going to be playing against Elysium right after this matchup, I believe. But we got to finish this one first. We are all tied at 11 here, Doug. You can hardly believe it.
We saw that run it back used early on to try to create some space in Garage. Ohai got all the way in there, but he wasn't able to land a kill. The other thing that's important to note is there was no space that was gained permanently by Complexity. Temporarily, Ohai got in there, but there was nobody to follow up. No space was taken away from Time In, so it's almost as if it didn't happen in the first place. They still have full control of that Garage area. Meanwhile, we saw Kurt early on holding down the operator down A long, which is where he still is. It looks like it might be a bit of 2 ships passing in the night, depending on where the Killjoy plays out. But for now, it looks like the attention is over at B.
Complexity, such a storied name in a variety of FPS titles. Now, trying to prove themselves in Valorant as well. And that's going to be Ninja, though, who instead gets first blood. Well played from Ninja over on B as the B execute was coming through. AGM now over on A. And it looks like, oh boy, flank Kurt. I think he'll have it. Kurt's going to get one, but now actually, no, it's going to be AGM who's aware of Kurt on the A long side. But Kurt's going to make a play. That's 2 kills for Kurt. And AGM is just going to silently skirt his way past Kurt, trying to find his way into a pick on the Opper, who's been looking so good. Kurt through the smoke! Don't do it, my friend! He almost connects on AGM. And it's not going to matter too much here. Time In is going to do it. Ninja gets the pick on AGM. Time will run out. Defenders will win. And Time In is now match point. Are you kidding me, Doug? Upset City. Upset potential. I called Time In to beat Complexity. Can they do it over a team that's been looking great in Complexity? It's such a storied organization, as I just mentioned earlier.
And here's the thing, Kurt, we talked about him early on, right? He was posted up in A long. He had the operator. We looked at his POV at the very opening of the round. Through the cloud burst, never shot a bullet, right? He was never there. He never tipped his hand, according to Complexity. So they funnel in, and that's where he was the entire time. It was just like sitting ducks that they were walking into their slaughter. It was brutal for Complexity, very well set up, and now Complexity without the operator in A long. You see they haven't even fully invested the spike there as it's still back in spawn. They're trying to get to A, but Time In is playing aggressively through Garage as well. They used that run it back to create some space, and that time it was followed up. The Omen has taken all of that away from Complexity, forcing them to go towards A. Yes, nobody's home, but it should be a very good retake for Time In. They have the lockdown as well.
Yeah, so we talked about it earlier. Ninja's location on Killjoy versus AGM's positioning and defense as Killjoy. And now Ninja's going to pull the same exact strategy with the lockdown over on A side. Same thing we saw that worked for Complexity on the flip side. Let's see if Time In can execute the same way. They have to be very well timed, but it's going to be a responsive Killjoy ultimate coming through for the defenders as well. Sorry, the attackers right after. Here comes the push. Killjoy hits on both sides. 5 versus 5. Ninja's going to get 1. That's huge. 4 more, and Time In will be your winner of this match with the big upset here. Ninja needs to get a second. Not going to connect. AGM gets 1. 4 versus 4 situation here on the retake. Kurt's going to connect. Kurt gets a double. Ninja going for the defuse, but it's going to be the Jonah's shock dart that connects. In the end, it is Kurt who goes huge. You got to be kidding me. Just like that, Time In is going to upset Complexity 13-11. They stay alive, they survive for their chance to compete in the WSOE main event. You have to be joking. What a performance from Time In.
The boys at Time In showed up to play, man. They looked so good. And they look good again, but like we talked about on the first map, they look good on both sides. It was a much more difficult task. It was a much better opponent here in this round, and while it was much more highly contested, the results were the same. They showed excellence in how they play the map. They look good on offense and defense. They showed that they can retake, that they can play around their ultimates. They know how to combine those. We even saw in the last round that lockdown was used by Ninja early on. They funneled in through the defending side, and there was actually their Omen made himself all the way back into the attacking side spawn. Complexity was trapped. They had nowhere to go. They got pinched in, and they just got ripped to shreds. Time In are the real deal.
Well done from Ninja, Morgazi, Grego, a team of multi-genre professional players from Apex Legends, from Fortnite, H1Z1, Halo, you name it. Well, they're doing it in Valorant. They're going to advance through over Complexity. And as you can see at the top right of your screen right now, we have Cloud9 White versus Elysium coming up next. But of course, before we throw to a quick break, you see it at the bottom of your screen, goPuff, 30 days of free delivery for new customers. If you don't know what goPuff is, you better download the app. It is unbelievable. You can basically place an order for delivery of the most random, any items you need can get delivered to your house. So make sure to sign up. 30 days of free delivery for any new customers, courtesy of goPuff. We'll be right back after a quick break. We got Cloud9 White versus Elysium after this. Welcome back, everybody, to WSOE Online V Valorant. If this is your first WSOE event, let me tell you what you can expect from every WSOE event. Well, it's what we just saw. Upset City, Ninja, Morgazi, Kurt, and of course, Danny, the newcomer on this squad, alongside Grego to round out this team with the big upset over Complexity, a signed roster of veterans in tactical shooters. Well, they win 13-11. They make it to the top 6. One more match and they'll qual through. And now we are going to get to watch Cloud9 White, who's been a phenomenal story in their own right, against Elysium in the winner's bracket. Fallout here joined alongside Esports Doug, as we've been enjoying the action, enjoying getting to call the action. Doug, your thoughts on that matchup and your thoughts kind of previewing this upcoming matchup between C9 White and Elysium.
I want to talk a lot about, and I only have a minute, man. I want to talk a lot about Cloud9 White and Elysium here. So, where do we begin? Cloud9 White really burst onto the scenes back in the qualifiers for First Strike. They shocked the world, taking down big teams, and it's been a lot of the same here. They dominated Renegades earlier on in this tournament. I think it was like 13-4. They're clicking on all cylinders. This is the Cloud9 White roster that everyone was scared of early on. These gals are the real deal, man. They're good.
Yeah, they're impressive. They've been looking great this entire tournament. I don't think they've lost a map yet. Currently sitting in the winner's bracket final against Elysium, who's also looked really, really solid with a couple big upsets of their own. So I'm excited for this upcoming matchup between Cloud9 White and Elysium. But of course, as we get ready for that matchup, you got to get these players ready, because guess what? You can have an additional $5,000 added to the existing $10,000 prize pool. Make sure to hit up the TikTok. Yes, I did a TikTok. I've never done one of those things in my life before. But, because WSOE is the best, I had to, pay some homage. So make sure to go hit a like, a comment, and, of course, share on TikTok. And then, of course, go to the WSOE pinned tweet and like and retweet. If we hit 1,000 likes across any of those metrics, $1,000 will be added per metric for a total of $5,000 added to the existing $10,000 prize pool. That's it for social bounties. Guess what? Gameplay is just about ready. C9 White versus Elysium, and it's going to be on Icebox. First time seeing Icebox here played today. We've seen a bit of every other map except for Icebox. Haven't seen Split yet with the big changes that obviously came through, but I'm excited to see Icebox between these two teams.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how they play that. We take a look back at Cloud9's road to get here. A 13-11 win on Ascent just in the previous round against Able Esports. As we mentioned, they absolutely dismantled Renegades 13-4. They've just looked really good, and we go even further back. They 13-0'd a team right before playing Renegades. So you start to get an idea of just how dominant Cloud9 White has been up until this point. Now, this is not a slouch team by any means. This Elysium roster is very good as well, but Cloud9 White, they're just clicking on all cylinders. This is what was so... It was so easy to root for and so easy to rally behind this team, a team of all women who are showing up, and they're dropping big teams left and right.
Yeah, it's been damn impressive, and the fact that they get to do it under the Cloud9 banner probably means the world to these five as well. Cloud9, if you don't know them, co-founded by Jack Etienne and his wife Paulie Etienne. They've been co-running the organization for quite some time, and one of the most, I think Forbes listed them as the most valuable esports organization in the world in terms of overall value, if not number one, top three. And sponsors on the likes of Microsoft and many others. Kudos to Cloud9. They're an organization that demands excellence, but doesn't just demand excellence for excellence sake. They do it the right way, with with the right preparation, the right level of approach, the right technology as well. Big shout out to Jack and the entire Cloud9 organization. Of course, these five gals for representing Cloud9 so incredibly well on Cloud9 White.
Again, an opportunity here to take down another big name in Elysium. Cloud9 White starting on the defending side. We haven't seen this map a ton, as you all may know. It's the newest map in the fold. You don't see teams get a ton of reps on it, but a big opening pick from Campion early on. Traded back by Cat, who's really, Cat is clockwork for Cloud9 White, John.
Yeah, she absolutely has been. It's been impressive to see. Meanwhile, it is going to be Elysium's Kairos as Sage. First time seeing Sage in play here in this tournament, or at least broadcast so far. Annie's going to get one, and now Annie in the 1 versus 3. Cross map. Tries to get some damage in, obviously looking through window, not going to get a whole lot. It's going to be a round 1 for the attackers to kick things off. C9 White on their back foot heading into round number 2.
Yeah, things are going a bit sideways early on, but the pistol, especially on Icebox, like, it's so tough to predict, right? It's so tough to understand who should have the advantage there. Elysium getting that one early on. We see Cloud9 White not choosing to force up here as they prepare for the next round. They are going to bring in a Frenzy, it seems. I saw Kat starting to think twice, potentially bring one in of her own, but not going to do that. It's just going to be classics across the board. Elysium should comfortably win this round as well. They're going to hit hard and heavy on the A. Meanwhile, Cloud9 White, understanding they don't have the gun advantage, stack, but they stack on the wrong side.
Yeah, there's a 50-50 guess. Classic pistol's not going to be enough against the SMGs coming through for Elysium, as they should be able to win this round as well and go up 2-0. Solid start so far, but of course we don't want to rule out this Cloud9 squad. For Classics, though, obviously decides to save. Another pick's going to come in for Campion. Choi Boy with the pick right after, and the turn. A little flick of the wrist right there on Katie. Nice job from Campion with the 3K. Obviously against some classic pistols. One more. It's going to be Sova. Annie, what you got? Not a whole lot, because you only got a classic pistol. So 2-0, Elysium takes the win here. And just a quick note on Cloud9, as most of you are probably aware if you've been a fan of Cloud9 or of VALORANT for quite some time, Tens of Cloud9 decides to focus on content creation full time. I had a chance to actually play with C9 Tens and Gordon Hayward, formerly of the Boston Celtics, now the Charlotte Hornets, in VALORANT for an event months ago in HyperX. And I got to say, kudos to C9 Tens, kudos to the Cloud9 organization actually in entirety. I was really, really impressed by his approach as a little commercial here for Cloud9. But this time it's all about Cloud9 White, not necessarily the other Cloud9 squads.
All right, let's see how things play out here. Elysium, they're on the bonus. They're rocking Sheriffs, and I think it was actually Spectres the entire way. No Stingers, so the gun advantage should go in favor of Cloud9, and we're already seeing some of that play out. Elysium tried to establish control across the middle of the map, but they drop a couple of members along the way. Mel gets another one, as Troy Boy's going to get the spike down. Numbers advantage in favor of Cloud9 as they try to get the retake here. This should be relatively effortless.
Yeah, Cade's gonna almost connect for a double. Choi Boy, though, making it a 1-versus-1, making things easy. You stay effortless, and Choi Boy says, hold my beer here, as now he's gonna get a 2K, goes for the third. Oh my goodness, not able to connect just yet. And he's gonna bait the defuse, and with just a pistol in Annie's hands, pistol versus pistol action. The attackers will win it, courtesy of a clutch from Choi Boy. What a performance, great shots from the Killjoy in Choi Boy. And just like that, the attackers will go up 3-0.
So it's interesting, John. Let me explain. Oftentimes, I say wide, broad swath statements, right, that are definitely like declarative and they're firm, and oftentimes I'm right, which is why I say things like that, but I'm pretty sure I'm 0 for maybe 16,000 tonight, so I might have to hesitate there. Very impressive stuff from Elysium there. Cloud9 shouldn't have a ton to work with. You see Katie's got the Sheriff here as they start to play the fourth round. Elysium should, here, given my track record, should have the advantage.
Yeah, it's a big should. That's a dagger round, though. That's what I don't care what esport you're playing, what game you're playing. A round like that is disheartening. It is an absolute dagger to the heart for a team like Cloud9, but you got to have a short-term memory. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas can't exist, especially in a competitive setting. And Cloud9 White, well, they're a team of professionals. They'll move on from that, but you got to think they're going to want that round back, as they're now down 3-0, and you got to think round 4 is going to be looking bleak for them, as they have to save quite a bit. The missed breach opportunity right there, missed Q. Here comes the push from Campion, who's been playing well as Jet. More breach abilities. He's going to try and just hold off this team, but it's just temporary. Really, Elysium's been playing super aggro, which is obviously a little bit more common on Icebox, but in general, the aggression from Elysium is paying off.
Yeah, you see that Sage wall really kind of fend things off. I like how Cloud9 was playing it early on. They were just playing off the site, understanding that they didn't have the numbers advantage, but a 4K from Cade really picks Cloud9 apart. That's going to get them to their fourth round. There's one thing I want to touch on regarding Elysium. Here's their composition. So a few things. Number one, you still don't see a ton of Sky, right? Keep that in mind. You definitely don't see a ton of Sage these days. And this is really some of the earliest times that we see the new Brimstone. Brim just received a big buff. The smokes last a lot longer. Their range is so much further. And so far, Elysium's been using the utility to perfection.
I've been impressed. Combination of use of utility and just ultra aggressive plays, and now they're going to do it again over on A side. They're really just stacking and rushing. Obviously, again, a little more common for Icebox. We just got done with Haven, which is quite literally the opposite. A lot of early rotations, but the aggression's paying off for Elysium. You don't want to see them change what's working as the attacker Killjoy is out, and they're going to use that as an opportunity to take this A site essentially for free, get a plant down, and now, once again, put Cloud9 White on their back foot and force them to play the retake.
Now keep a close eye. There are a few things that are really important to keep in mind here. Cloud9 has the Rolling Thunder. There it is. It's going to be used to create some space, but Elysium, understanding that, they just play off of the site. There were two reasons for that. Number one, the Rolling Thunder, and two, they have the Orbital Strike from Brimstone, so they don't have to play on the site. Yeah, he's got to stay alive. There it is. It's going to drop. We'll see if it connects onto anyone as members of Elysium continue to drop left and right. K drops as well. Troyboy trades it out, however, but Campion up from the top ropes with 11 health, able to get one. Campion with 3, but Cloud9 holds fast. They get on the board.
Well played from Cloud9 as they're finally going to get a much-needed point on the board. Doug, I could not have called that better myself. Quick summary of what you just said. Elysium, well, they played that well. They wisely decided to back off of site, recognizing that the Rolling Thunder was going to come through from Breach. Despite their wise decision, it was Cloud9 who was able to frag out and outslay their opponents as they pick up a few kills, despite a valiant effort from Campion and Choyboy, who've really been the mid-round fragging stars of this team. It is going to be Cloud9 who finally gets their first point on the board here. Now the question is, they're down by 3 rounds on defense. This is kind of a 50-50 map overall, so I don't think you can look at the score right now and think Elysium is just rolling or will continue to roll. I think Cloud9 White can just steal a few rounds here, potentially tie it up. That is a big potentially, though, capital P, as this Elysium squad's looking great.
They look great, and they have money for days here, John. The fact that they were able to amass the lead that they did early on means that, yeah, they dropped that round. They can still buy full the next round. Meanwhile, Cloud9, who just came off of a big round win, is still rocking a couple things like Spectres. It's still a mixed buy. So Elysium, again, with how well they've played the opening half, find themselves in an advantageous spot here, a comfortable one, as they funnel onto A.
Tripwire destroyed. Cage triggered.
Interesting team comp from Elysium, though. I think we saw Sage, we saw Sky. I think is it Sage and Sky on one team, so heals extraordinaire. We didn't really break down the team comps for this squad too much. Meanwhile, Cloud9's going a bit more traditional. Katie's going to get the first pick, first blood, Cloud9. Cloud9 now trying to secure this round 2 in a row. Campion's going to neutralize the double kill, actually make it a man lead for Campion and Elysium, as that's going to be 3 straight kills. Last up, last alive is Omen, who might decide to wisely save here. It's going to be Cat. Well done from Campion, the lead fragger of this team who's been playing so well.
Yeah, and again, Cat here, and she can see if maybe she can get an exit, a pick on the way out, or maybe even try to sneak this thing away. My gosh, John, she might go for this thing. She's going to drop the smoke, but the Molly's going to come out. That's another devastating part of Brim. High Pop was there on the flank through the smoke to be able to take Cat out. Elysium takes a 4-round lead, and they have 3 ultimates to go into the next round. Mind you, Cloud9 has 4 of their own.
Yeah, 4 ultimates for Cloud9, but absolutely nothing in the bank. So they're going to have some ultimates to work with, but it's going to have to be a pistol round, an eco round, especially since Cat decided to go for the slightly risky play right there, trying to see if she could get an exit frag or maybe even sneak a defuse. High risk, high reward, did not pay off, obviously, in that scenario. So now as a result, 4 pistols, and I believe I saw a ghost in the hands of Cloud9 White. Campion's going to actually pop an ultimate here, which I don't think was maybe necessary. Good effort here coming through. Mel's going to get one with the pistol. Kairos is going to neutralize right after. This is Elysium written all over it for now, but the res is going to come through just in case.
Yeah, man, that just went from bad to worse for Cloud9, and we saw Cloud9 roll the die, and it was a couple of rounds ago on the pistol that they pushed their way into B, but Elysium was elsewhere on the map. This time they pushed right into where Cloud9 was. The paranoia came through, the Blade Storm was there from the Jet as well, but Elysium was just able to handle it. They were able to fend off the aggression, the pressure that came in from Cloud9 on the eco to take a 5-round lead. But now, John, Now we learn more about Cloud9. Now that they're going to have guns, they should be able to bring in a good bit into this, including the operator in the hands of Katie. But they've got to convert here. I think you run the risk of this thing getting out of control very quickly if you're not careful.
Finally, an op in the hands of Katie. And finally, a even 5v5 fight here. An op per team in the hands of Jet, respectively. And I will say that last round, listen, I'm an eternal optimist. This is the optimist in me, but they did manage to pop 2 ultimates of Elysium. Of course, the Sage ult, and it will be Campion who gets the upper hand in the 1v1 duel. Nice job right there from Campion, who I can't say enough good things about. Really the all-star player in my eyes so far as the entry fragger for this team.
And you saw the Sky ult used as well, again, to create space. And I can't stress the importance, especially in a map like Icebox on A. I cannot stress the importance and the value of space. That allows them to assume post plants in tight corners where they can anchor things down. Yes, they both have dropped a player apiece, but Campion's already getting pushed off. That paranoia comes through in conjunction with the dart. Very nice combination of utility, but Cade fends them off. He's able to get 2. Cloud9 just down to 2 members left. Cat not able to connect, not able to get one. It's just down to Annie. Annie takes up 1 as a parting gift, but Elysium up to 7.
Cade living up to the gamer tag with the 3K right there. And despite a solid paranoia, and again, yeah, like you said, nice ability, or nice combination of utility and abilities right there. Paranoia followed by the smoke. It was Cade that said, yeah, shuts it down with the 2K, gets the 3K to close that out. Now 1 kill away from an ultimate as, again, some fruit for his labor. Nice job from Cade. Nice job from Campion. Nice job from Choi Boy as the Sentinel has been really playing aggressive. All 5 members of Elysium are positive in KD. All 5 members playing incredibly well. And now C9 back to an eco round with the Sheriff in the hands of Cat.
Yeah, and this is really the last place you want to be if you're Cloud9. They've already lost 3 of their 5 members, and whatever damage they did do to Elysium in that exchange has already been healed back up. However, Annie was able to take 1 with the Sheriff, but that's going to leave things in the hands of Alexis in a 1v4 situation. Good response of the flash, but the problem is there's that Sky flash and how different it is and how important it is compared to the other flashes. Sky's flash gives you an audio cue if it flashes somebody. So in that situation, Elysium doesn't have to push forward, but they do know where Alexis is. That's why you saw some of that fire coming out. That's why you saw Campion holding that angle with the operator, and that's why you see Elysium take a 7-round lead.
Yeah, 8-1 in total round count. Dominating performance, and it really was from the onset. 3 straight rounds that Elysium won with ultra aggression. They just rushed, I think it was B, then switched over to A. Doesn't matter, they get to pick their fruit. Regardless of where they're rushing, where they're playing, they're getting the upper hand. Elysium's looking great right now in the winner's bracket. But keep in mind, for those that are just tuning in, first off, again, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. Fallout here. First time having a chance to cast Valorant, so I appreciate every single one of y'all for tuning in alongside the GOAT himself and esports Doug, a good friend of mine I've known for a very long time. We've been looking forward to this day of casting together for quite some time. So big shout out to Doug. This is WSOE Online V, Valorant. This is the qualifiers for the main event. Top 4 teams will qualify for the main event next week. So keep that in mind. This is just the quals. The main event will be 6 days from now, Tuesday of next week, and I could not be more excited for that. Of course, we have to find our teams. Who's it going to be? Who's going to qualify? This is the winner's bracket. The losing team still has a chance.
John, it's a fake! It's a fake! It was a fake the entire time! The Killjoy ultimate's gonna go down on A, and they were never on that side. The spike was around B the entire time. Cloud9 pushed their way up across the middle of the map, deep into the belly of the beast, and Elysium was just sitting there waiting for it with the members that were not invested towards B. That allowed them to get over there, and they have the orbital strike to work with as well. Campion trying to land a shot with the op, as Cloud9 is just down to 2 members left. There's the orbital strike that we're talking about. Nice shot from Katie. Oh my gosh, she does it again. 1 left on the side of Elysium. You hear the blade storm has been used. She goes up and she gets ripped from the skies. A 3K from Katie. Cloud9 White take a round away.
Wow, what a roller coaster of a round that was. The cheeky trick strat coming through from C9. It gets defended well, but in the end it was Katie with the operator doing all the work that was needed So well played from Katie. 3 kills picked up at the very end, and there were some solid shots as well. Katie doing what she can to bring her team back into this one, trying to gain some momentum. But on a map like Icebox, that's kind of a 50-50 split. They got to win the next few rounds here. They got to try and narrow the deficit before they switch over to the attacking side. But a brilliant round nonetheless from Katie and co. The question is, can they continue with a back-to-back performance?
All right, 5 ultimates, not 5 operators. That would be insane. 5
imagine.
ultimates to work with here. 1 operator in the hands of Katie, and she picks up right where she left off, ripping off Campion's face, stopping some of that early push onto A, but Elysium still seem hellbent on making their way in.
Yeah, well played from Katie. Heating up right now. That's 4 straight kills with the op. And perhaps the momentum shift that's needed. Sometimes all it takes is an individual performance to really ignite a team performance. This time, is it Katie? Can Cloud9 follow up? Rolling Thunder is going to come through. It's going to be dodged by Hip Hop. By the way, great gamer tag. And it looks like Choi Boy's going to get 1. Hip Hop gets the 2nd. The ultimate's going to come through from Sova. Katie's going to get the pick with the op, but Kairos is going to neutralize right after. 2 versus 3 retake here for Cloud9 White. Sova and an Omen. As the bomb still has not been planted, retake will ensue now. Cat and co. Can you pick up where Katie left off with the clutch play?
It was interesting. They used that Rolling Thunder so early before the spike even went down. It wasn't used to create space on the retake. I love this from Cat, though. Little fake telly. Annie on the other side, able to get 1. Drop things down to a 2v2. There's that Nanoswarm early on. It hadn't been tapped. But they're just buying time. The Molly was there too in the smoke. That just buys so much time, John.
Jeez. Yeah, absolutely. Choi Boy's going to get 1. Cade's going to get the last one. And despite a strong effort, despite a first kill, making it a 2 versus 2, it was the utility that made the difference. The utility was enough. And that's going to give Elysium a 9-2 lead, running away with this one. This is the tale of 2 tales in our last 2 matches. We had a nail-biter between Complexity and Ninja, Morgazi and co. with time in that went the distance, or close to the distance, 13-11. This time, 9-2. Much different story here in our winners bracket final between Elysium and Cloud9 White. The loser of this, though, not out yet, will go to that losers bracket for a chance to play and still qualify through as a top 4 team.
Bladestorm used early on. You're cute. Campion's going to get tagged up, but it was Katie with that Bladestorm that we just mentioned that she gets the opening frag. Campion did get tagged, but again, he's going to get healed up. You mentioned how uncommon that is. All of the healing prowess that Elysium's composition holds. We're already seeing that in display. Cat, some nice shots, but she is going to get pushed back.
Yeah, heals for days by this really unique team composition. I've been really surprised to see how well Elysium, first off, the team comp in general, Skye being used. You don't see a lot of Skye in competitive Valorant. And of course, Sage being used as well for double heals. The res, which is obviously so frustrating to play against. You get a kill, you think you have an advantage, then you lose it. Katie, though, with the ultimate on Jet, we've already gotten 1. And that's going to be a round 1 for Cloud9 White. Much needed. They'll get the defuse momentarily, and it's going to be 9-3. Nice shot by Cloud9 White, trying to pick up another one, but they got to pick up a couple in a row here. Given their deficit, they need a momentum shift. They need some energy. We'll see if they can do that here coming into the second half.
Switching sides.
Oh, and that's a nice round win to close that thing out. Yeah, you know, things were ugly for a while. You lost 8 of 9. So it wasn't pretty, but I think as you think about how momentum builds into the next half, that was a big round win for a few reasons. One, obviously, a 9-3 is better than a 10-2 if you're on the deficit. But also, they did so with scraps, right? Katie had that Bladestorm and a Stinger in her back pocket, so it wasn't a clean buy. Katie able to get 3 kills there with her ultimate, really kind of unlock things, and she was able to anchor things down. So really big performance there from Katie. She's feeling herself at 12-9, and this map is far from over, John.
I like to hear it. That's exactly what I like to hear as a caster. I'm sure those in chat would love to see a fight put up by Cloud9 White as well. Now they're switching over to the attacking side. And we'll see, of course, the Sentinel in the hands of Sage. Here comes the aggression. Katie playing ultra aggressive here. Not going to pay off just yet, but Katie through the smoke is able to get 1 here. Wow, beautiful plays from Katie, who continues to be the performer here for Cloud9 White. I've been so incredibly impressed. They have a 5 versus 4 numbers advantage, and they're going to force a retake here for Elysium.
Telling you, man, Katie's feeling it. She's feeling good. The aggression there into the Killjoy turret as well. And managed to get the kill, but now Elysium at a numbers disadvantage. They aren't even going to get it close enough to sniff the dang thing. Cade is the only one who's able to get a kill, gets a second, but no. It's Katie from bookend to bookend. Pick the round apart for Cloud9. She gets 4, I believe, on that round. 3 or 4, it doesn't matter. It's still impressive. As they continue to pick away at the gap, John, you're not going to get rid of a deficit. And you know this with your professional playing background. You've been in these situations. You don't get rid of a deficit like this in one fell swoop. It takes time, right? Chip away.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It takes time, it takes momentum. I use the analogy often when casting, but it's a perfect analogy for this situation. You got to turn that snowball into an avalanche some way, somehow, but obviously it takes time for that snowball to build, as mentioned. And guess what? The one that is adding all the momentum to the category is Katie. She was 7-8 a little bit ago. Now she's 15-9 in overall KD. Such a great last 4 or 5 rounds. It was really since that 3K with the op that she has turned things around. And sometimes that's all it takes is one individual to pop off and give your team all types of momentum, all types of hype. And of course, that's what's happening right now. Katie, what you got here? Keep it up. As now Annie is going to use that drone, get some intel over towards B side. They're going to execute on B.
Good flash. Oh man, but a better one. Traded out, but Katie doesn't seem to give a dang about anything that's being thrown her way. She's already gotten 2. Give her 3 with the Bulldog, baby! As she continues to pick Elysium apart. They're just down to 2 members left. Yeah, they didn't have much as far as guns go, but for Cloud9, that's another step from a snowball to an avalanche, right? We've seen eco rounds go sideways, so that's big for Cloud9.
What's up, Katie? Gosh, what a performance from Katie right here, right now on Jet. But obviously it takes a village. You've seen the entire team, the entire Cloud9 squad step up and get elevated off the heels of Katie's 3K. And it was really after that performance with the op and those beautiful, beautiful shots, 3 straight kills with the operator. The defuse obviously came through after. That was 5 rounds ago. Well, since then, I believe Cloud9 has won 4 of the last 5. And they're not done yet. Here comes a push through mid here. Very aggressive from Katie. She's feeling herself, and sometimes when it's hitting, you got to keep hitting. Katie's going to push right through mid here. Needs to be careful. Going to get tagged up quite a bit. Tagged down all the way to 19 HP. It's looking bleak for Katie. It might be someone else that has to step up here.
Oh, Troy Boy able to get a big one. Hip Hop gets one as well. A second. Campion on the flank gets the spike. The spike goes down. The kills drop. Gun advantage was in favor of Elysium, but that's important to stop the bleeding. Cloud9 had all the momentum going up into that point.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Tons of momentum, and sometimes, you mentioned any pro player across any title, right? Sometimes you start to get this adrenaline hit. You start to feel yourself a little bit, and then you get a little over-eager, over-aggressive. And really, what I've seen, the best players across any esports titles are the ones that are able to have ice in their veins and kind of control those emotions, control that adrenaline. Even though they're feeling themselves, they're still able to make the right decisions. Obviously, you want to keep rolling here. You want to keep playing with aggression. But that aggression maybe got Katie in a pretty rough spot there, pushing through mid. They decided to go for the trick strat. Does not pay off.
Yeah, but she doesn't seem to slow down at all. Like, she used the Blade Storm off the bat, and she gets the kill with the Stinger, not really showing it. Any of what went down in the last round has impacted the way she's thinking about this one.
Yeah, I love the way she's playing this, too, and obviously she's finally going to get spotted out right there by, of course, the utility from Sky, but she played it slow and gave her team a chance to catch up to her. Obviously, Jet can play a lot faster, and she was really just a thorn in the side of her opponents. Bought some time for their team to push up. Annie's going to follow up with the kill of her own. 3 versus 3. Hip Hop gets 1. Bell's going to follow up right after. 2v2. Campion tags up, gets a double. It's going to be Cat versus Campion in a 1 versus 1. Bomb is not planted just yet. Finally, the spike will go down. And the HP advantage in favor of Cat. Cat's going to connect for the kill. Nice job from Cloud9. Slowly but surely, you said it earlier, Doug, they're chipping away at this deficit. They still have a ways to go. Down by 4. Can Cloud9 White do it, though? Can they continue this momentum? If they win, if they can trade 2 for 1 or 3 for 1 rounds, they might be able to close this out.
We mentioned it during the round, but really, that round was entirely unlocked by the way Katie played Kitchen.
Absolutely.
Right? Goes in with the Blade Storm, isn't able to land the kill with the Blade Storm, but then swaps over to the Stinger and then just gets what she needs. Upgrades the weapon. It was really that entire round was made possible by that small play. But now, as you said, the comeback is far from over. Cloud9 are still at a 4-round deficit, and they're on the attacking side, which can be very spotty on Icebox.
Yeah, and they're actually going to wisely decide to slow things down a little bit. So 3 straight rounds of KD playing ultra aggressive, getting first bloods, is now going to be a much slower round as they're trying to get into the heads. Maybe some mind games here, making this a bit more of a chess game is KD and Cloud9. We got to stay on board with KD. She has the hot hand right now for C9 White. The Sova drone is out, getting some intel, and the rotation going to come through for KD. As you look at the minimap here, KD's really pushing by herself and is drawing some attention, actually, over towards B, but the play is actually on A. The execute coming through, and of course the 3 or 4 members, it's going to work, because 3 or 4 members of Elysium are over towards B side. So well played, well executed A strat. But it's going to be Choi Boy staying sneaky. Gets turned down by Alexis. Katie's going to get one right after. Huge plays coming through. Campion gets another with the ultimate on Jet. Can Alexis do it? Can Katie do it? Both alive. Alexis gets one. Can Alexis get the double? No, not just yet. 3 versus 2 right now for Cloud9 White. Bomb needs to be planted still, I believe, as we do have Alexis getting some quick intel. 2 members of Elysium both bundled up, and I think they have that intel.
They should be able to pinch in. Nice shots from Alexis, a 3K, and he gets in on the action as well. Cloud9 White get the spike down. They're going to get the money from that, and they take the round win. And John, you mentioned it. There were 2 things that went very well for Cloud9 there. One, it was Katie causing a ruckus over by B. But then we also saw Kat actually use her from the shadows to drop into B and then cancel out. The plan was never for her to go to B, because when she played that, she and 2 of her teammates were basically in A, right? They were in the front pocket of Elysium's defense of Choi Boy there, but it was a fake. They bit a little bit. They fully committed onto A, and Choi Boy had a chance to go huge there, but just wasn't able to come up with anything with that stinger.
200 IQ plays. That's what you love about Omen. That's what people have loved about Omen since the onset. And of course, we're going to see more of the same with Yoru once Yoru enters competitive Valorant. A lot of playmaking potential, much like we just saw from the Omen and the Jet right there. They did a lot to basically pull aggro of their opposing team, Elysium, over towards B, and then executed A with perfection, but it wasn't necessarily easy. Alexis had to go huge with 2 or 3 kills. Nice little flick of the wrist on one of them. Now, we're going to jump on board with Campion, see what's not working so well for Elysium, as they've lost, I think, 5 of the last 7 rounds. The ultimate's going to come through. It's rolling better, not going to connect. Opper still in the hands, and that's going to be a headshot. Takes the head clean off the shoulders of Katie. That's a huge pick, and that's a huge one to get. Meanwhile, the lockdown's going to come in.
Yeah, it's the problem with using that Rolling Thunder early on, is you show your cards, right? And then that opening pick from Campion, with the operator, just tells them everything. It tells Elysium everything they need to know, and they had that lockdown. So as soon as those cards are shown, yeah, they're going to drop that ult, and that's going to force Cloud9 away. So now they're scrambling to get back over to B. Elysium knows where they're going because the hit isn't towards A anymore, and they're at a numbers disadvantage.
Yeah, I like the quick rotation from Cloud9 here. They actually caught their Elysium completely off guard, as you saw 2 members of Elysium were still camping A, expecting the A execute. Instead, it was a quick rotation, quick call. Didn't hesitate for a second from Cloud9. Cat's going to get 1. 3 versus 2, that was a huge kill. Needed to get it right there was Alexis. Instead, Alexis gets taken out, leaving Mel in a 1 versus 3. Not much going to be going for Mel, and just like that, Elysium's finally going to stop the bleeding here in the slight momentum shift that was the last 5 or 6 rounds for Cloud9 White. 2 rounds away is Elysium from punching their ticket to the qualifiers. We'll see if they can close this one out over a Cloud9 White squad that you certainly cannot leave out. They've been playing so great in this tournament and as of late.
Well, look at the mixed buys from both squads. Mel's going to have to bring in a Bulldog. Katie 2 points away, so she's going to have to go ahead and force up. She's buying pretty low. Meanwhile, Kairos and Cade are going to be in a bit of an awkward situation where they had to buy down. Cade had to have somebody buy for him, and Kairos drops down to the Stinger. Definitely not what you want to be bringing into this thing, especially as Cloud9, as we mentioned, continues to chip away. They're fully invested on B long here. Cade is pushed back. He has to back off. There's a Hunter's Fury to try to create some space. Tag up a player, but no. Cade's fancy footwork is going to keep him safe.
Yeah, so that's going to be an ultimate that renders no results for Cloud9 White. And Spike currently in the hands of Omen. If you look at the minimap at the top left of your screen, you'll see the same thing we saw last round, but the opposite. They're going to play B, fake the execute B, realize maybe nothing going here, rotate back over to A, but they still have a decision to make here. They could easily fake right back to B instead. But it's a good job by Elysium kind of keeping their footing. 2 at A, 3 over at B, a solid default kind of base defense strat coming through for Elysium. They're not falling for any of this.
No, and it's Alexis. Alexis had lurked her way all the way up A, and she got a pick, and that's the cue. Keep a close eye on the minimap in the middle, though. As the sky is starting to rotate over, she's going to get into a bit of a scuffle with the Jet in just a moment as Cloud9 try to get the spike down. Cat trying to make it happen is delayed just a bit. That flank is still there from Elysium. That can be devastating if left unchecked, and Cloud9 still don't have the spike down yet.
Yeah, finally the spike is going to go down. Katie's going to get 1. That's huge. That's on Campion, who I believe did have an op. 3 versus 2 now, making it 2 versus 2. Kairos is going to get 1, but gets taken out right after by Katie. 2v1. All eyes on Hype Hop right now. Looks for 1, gets it. 1 versus 1 now. We got Sky versus Omen. I love these scenarios, and it's going to be Hip Hop with the 3K and the 1v2 clutch. You got to be kidding me. That's going to put Elysium at match point, courtesy of a clutch from Hip Hop the Sky here on Icebox. Well played for Elysium. They are now at match point and 1 round away from punching their ticket to the main event for WSOE Online 5.
A was their safety valve there for Cloud9. They had invested the Hunter's Fury. They had personnel over at B, and it was Alexis who had crept her way all the way really up into the site and was totally left uncontested. So that's when they decide, all right, we should pull out. Maybe she gets the pick, and then they flush everything over. But it was the flank, John. That's what blew that thing open. It was Hip Hop on the flank. He was able to go huge, get 2-3 kills, and get that 1v2 clutch, as you mentioned, that really kind of went sideways. Him getting that kill on the Jet in the defending spawn unlocked that round for Elysium.
Well played. And now, as a result, 1 round away from being the first team to punch their ticket to the finals. Katie's trying to say something about it, though, with aggression, but that's going to be just the ultimate wasted for Katie. She's just going to blindly throw those blades into smoke. Katie's going to get 1 right after. It's obviously all she can do here, though. It's a pistol round. It's a must-win round, and it's a tough one, as Hip Hop's going to get a pick right after. 4v3 right now. And it was a forced buy. The res is going to come through for Kairos. Annie gets 1 right after, though, on Kairos. But it's all up to Sova now. Annie, last alive. Annie's going to look for 1, gets taken out, and that's going to be all she wrote for Cloud9 White. Elysium will advance to the WSOE Online 5 Valorant main event next Tuesday. They'll be the first team to punch their tickets. Congratulations to them. Of course, coming up next, we will have time in and down bad. But of course, before we jump to a quick break, Doug, I want to get your final thoughts. Cloud9 White, they were looking great, unstoppable maybe going into that match, but something was not really clicking for them. Do you think they have a chance in the losers bracket? Do you think we're going to see them in the main event next week?
I think so, and it's not just because of how well they performed in the bracket up until this point, but in my opinion, what gives me a vote of confidence is how they played the latter half of that map. John, they were down big, right? And I think we see so much character, what teams are made of when they find themselves at a big deficit, and how they deal with that, how they respond to that. They clawed their way almost all the way back into this thing, just a couple of small miscues, and I think had those things gone differently, we'd be having an entirely different conversation. So Cloud9 White, they're still in this thing. They still look really damn good. They're just going to have to get in through the losers bracket if they want to play next week.
Yeah, it'll be 1 final match for Cloud9 White. They'll be playing against Big Frames in the losers bracket. That's Koala Noob, Nerfed, Cryo, and Co. We'll see what they can do. But coming up next, we do have Time In versus Down Bad. That is right. We're going to see if Ninja's team, who's 2-0 on stream, they've been looking great. They beat Complexity. They have 1 more team to get through if they want to qualify. But before we jump to a quick break, just a reminder, you can download the goPuff app and sign up for goPuff. You have 30 days of free delivery. Yes, free delivery, buying really any goods you want delivered to your home, which is obviously great during pandemic and stay-at-home orders times. We're going to jump to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have Time In versus Down Bad. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to WSOE Online V Valorant. This is the day 3 of the qualifiers, the final day of the qualifiers before our main event on January 26th. That's in 6 days, where the top 4 teams from this qualifier will advance. That, of course, will go live at 3 p.m. Pacific time on January 26th. Very excited for the main event, but to get there, first we got to qualify our top 4 teams from this tournament. And the first team to qualify is Elysium. We, of course, have 3 more that are going to make it through. Who will they be? Well, we'll find out in our losers bracket. Fallout here, joined alongside Esports Doug, calling the action today. Doug, you've been enjoying the gameplay so much that you hit a decibel I didn't realize was possible last match. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. My throat's a little raw. But this is so much fun. Like, man, and that map perfectly encapsulates why I love Valorant so much, right? Like, you get stuff like that, and it goes from 0 to 1,000 in 1 second. It's just so much fun. It's been a blast to call this with you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm kind of sad this is the last map. Can we just add some more? Can we keep doing this?
That's what I'm saying, man. Can we just keep it going? You know, maybe some consolation matches. How about this? I will put up $50 of my own money for a $50 wager match. No, I'm just kidding. I could definitely enjoy some more Valorant. It's been fun to watch. Couldn't agree more, man. We've had a variety of things. We obviously had a blowout in our first match. We had an intense nail-biter after that. It's been insane. But if you want to support these Valorant players, you want to do them a solid, you can add another $5,000 to the prize pool. You control the fate. $1,000 will be added for each metric listed below on Twitter or on the WSOE TikTok. Make sure to go drop a like, comment, and of course share. We are almost at 200 likes on the tweet, so that's about 20% of the way there, and the tweet was just posted a few hours ago, I think 1 or 2 hours ago. So making some steady progress here, and you can control the fate of how much more additional prize pool will be added yourself, as we are getting ready 2.5 minutes away from starting this matchup between Time In and Downed Bad. It is going to be a great one. Time In's been looking great, though, Doug. I have to say, I have a hard time picking against them, given how well they've been playing.
Yeah, reasonably so, but not but, right? Because I don't know that fully conveys what I'm trying to say here. I think on the other side, you have to consider how good Down Bad has looked so far, right? Let's start from the very beginning. They take care of Zero Marksman. They beat Pittsburgh Knights, Obstacle, Big Frames, which is down in the losers bracket right now, and then they get dropped by Balance Esports. So this is their first losers bracket match. They've been coasting through the winners bracket. They finally face a bit of adversity, and now they're going to go up against a very good Time In squad. But it's not like Down Bad dropped the first map and then have just kind of scrapped their way through. It's been a very strong performance up until this point.
Yeah, and I want to point out, obviously, it has been a strong performance. Down Bad's coming from the winners bracket, though, where they lost to Balanced Esports, who is our second qualifying team. So we gave a lot of hype and kudos to Elysium for beating Cloud9 White. Well, on the other side of that winners bracket, it was Balanced Esports who defeated Down Bad, sending them to the losers bracket to play against Time In. So you're spot on, man. It's as well as Time In is playing, Down Bad was in the winners bracket, made it further to the winners bracket than Time In did for a reason. I think it's going to be a great matchup between these two teams, and the winner obviously will be our third team to qualify, followed by the winner of the Cloud9 matchup on the other side of the losers bracket, where Cloud9 will be playing against Big Frames to see who our fourth and final team to qualify will be. We, of course, will keep you updated on that side station matchup, as this will be the last match on broadcast. And, of course, C9 White versus Big Frames is happening off stream.
It is. I think one of the things I'm excited to see as we close out the show here, as you mentioned on this last map, is Time In. So we talked about Down Bad and the performance that they've had, but Time In are in a position, once again, to not only take down a good squad, but to qualify for a big invitational, right? Like, that's a big tournament, 10K, 4 teams, and it's not like they coasted their way in, or it was like it was gifted to them, right? They made their way through the qualifier. They've got a chance to punch a ticket to a big show and do so in a maybe a grassroots way. That might be the right way to say it, but nothing's been handed to them. They've earned everything up until this point.
Yeah, that is true. They had to earn their way through the winners bracket, made it far in the winners bracket. And one thing that's important to note is Time In lost to probably what has looked like the best team on stream so far. It was Elysium, 1-0 in the winners bracket. So it's not like they lost to some slouches early on. Instead, they lost to a great team in Elysium. That's what knocked them to the losers bracket. Since then, they've beaten Snowmen, and they've beaten Complexity, a really, really strong squad, and it was a close matchup. So I think you're right. Down Bad's been looking good. Time In has been looking great as well. I think we're gonna have a great matchup here on Bind to round out every map that we've seen, except we're still waiting for Split. That's one thing I'm excited to see in the main event next week is the new Split with some of the recent changes, but we'll be seeing Bind here to close out the show.
We will, and John, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm gonna get extra giddy in this one. I love casting Bind. It's probably my favorite map to cast because, again, as you've probably observed at this point, I nerd out really hard on how teams play maps and how they like show different fakes and they use the information that's given to them to make decisions. Bind lends itself to that so well, especially when you consider the teleporters and the different plays that are available because of that. So we'll see Time In on the attacking side what they have up their sleeves. Ninja's going to be on the Cypher, a slight difference from what we normally see him on, that being the Killjoy. Morg on the Omen, Kurt once again on the Jet, and across the board the rest looks about the same. Worth noting, Down Bad bringing a Brim into the fold.
Yeah, of course, recent buffs to Brimstone, elongated smokes are going to make a difference. Nice pick right there, actually going to catch Ninja off guard. Danny's going to neutralize right after the software engineering student himself. Margazi's going to get one on Bank. Raffle, like the gamer tag. Kurt's going to follow up on Nico. So just like that, 2 versus 3 from the defending team. Timon has the slight advantage. Here comes the retake opportunity. Xander looking for one. Xander's going to get it. Headshot over Margazi. Almost gets the double kill, but Kurt was ready for it. Zambi's going to take out Kurt. And here we go. All left to a 1 versus 1 here. It's going to be Grego versus Zambi. Smoke's going to go down. The Molly's going to follow. And that should be an opportunity. I don't know if the Molly's deep enough. And I don't know if Grego's even realizing that he's not connecting for squat. The defuse is going to come through, and not much you could do right there for Grego. The molly and the decision to pick up some utility in round 1 made the difference there for Zambi.
I'm not going to lie to you. I hate this saying, but pros don't fake, right? The molly was there. He tapped it, and he stuck it the entire way through. That was so well played. And look, another big thing from Down Bad. As soon as Time In showed up showers, they took the B long telly to pinch them into showers. So well played by Grego, I believe it was, to stop that pinch in from behind. But for a moment there, Time In were just sitting ducks, right? They were flanked in from all sides. They had no options on how to play the map. Fortunately, they fought their way through a little bit, but again, the damage was done.
Yeah, I will say, I talk about it often, the importance of having a short-term memory. That's a tough one to lose if you're Time In. An opportunity to go up early. We have not seen Time In lose many initial rounds this entire tournament. Went 2-0 against Complexity, which is tough to do. Had a 3v2, had the bomb down, and of course couldn't capitalize. Now it is Zambi that's going to be helping his team. Maybe the hero for round 1 is now the hero in round 2, helping them secure a second round win. Agility is going to follow up, and this should be a pretty easy round against Time In here in round number 2 with the slight eco advantage. Down Bad will capitalize. Danny's going to get taken out. Spike is down, and it's all up to Ninja, but in a 1v4, Ninja's just going to try and do as much damage as he can.
Which should be a decent amount. Time In forced here, right? Like, they rolled the die. They're going to have decent guns to fight back, and that's how you see Ninja getting one onto Xander. Down Bad just down to 3, but the problem is, as is often seen on the attacking side, if you've got a split play and the spike isn't in a safe spot, if something goes sideways, as we saw, you leave your last player on an island trying to really infiltrate their way into what feels like Fort Knox just to get the spike, and then he has to get onto the site, plant it, and then assume a post-plant position. You're just asking for a lot in a situation like that. So the round goes a bit sideways, Time In forced, and now, John, they're broke. Like, they're capital B broke here.
Yep. Absolutely. That's what happens when you decide to gamble a little bit on round 2 and hope that, that gamble means, well, you're not going to be too far behind. Likely Down Bad's not going to pick up assault rifles, a Vandal, or a Phantom here in round 2, and you hope it pays off. But when it doesn't, well, it hurts for another round. And now, as a result, it should be a round 1, but keep an eye on Down Bad. They didn't all pick up either Vandals or Phantoms. They maintained quite a few of those SMGs that they had from the round previously, obviously recognizing no need to buy here. Let's really save up as much as possible because we know that Time In is going to have to save. So it should be a round 1. SMGs beat pistols every single day.
Yeah, they're going to ride that bonus. Sweet.
Yep.
Sweet bonus all the way to Graceland. The one difference, Bancroft did buy a Vandal. So we'll see.
Just be
keep
safe.
that in mind. Yep, and there it is. Like clockwork,
There it
man.
is.
Opening pick on Ninja.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what you want. If one person's going to pick up a Vandal, let that person play up a little bit. Or play back, if you will, because you have more range, obviously. And that's what Bankroll's going to actually take advantage of. 2 picks picked up off the rip. And at this point, just wall banging and securing themselves a round number 3 win. And again, nice headshot right there from Bankroll. But again, I go back to it. I hate to hamper on it, but or beat a dead horse, if you will. But that first round, that time in could have had, or maybe should have had secured with the 3 versus 2, is going to haunt them and has haunted them now.
30 seconds left.
Xander's going to get a pick, all up to Morgazi here with the Sheriff. He's going to be playing patient. Has the spike, so that means, might have an opportunity to play this slow, play a little sneaky. But that's the difference between team comps, by the way. We have an Omen in favor of time in, and we have a Brimstone in favor of down bad. Smokes for each team still, obviously, but Omen means we get to see some Omen plays.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how teams continue to prioritize the Omen after the changes that came through. The Paranoia is notably more expensive now for the Omen, so you've got to really think about balancing your economy in a way that allows you to bring that into the fold. Again, people still opting to bring the Omen into the fold. A quick look at the scoreboard. We'll see down bad is up big, and they're not the ones that are down bad, as Bancroft is leading the frags, not just for his team, but for the server at a 5-2 performance. Down bad looking pretty here. They've stacked up a couple of members over on B. Elsewhere on the map, they've got 2 players. They've got some of that Cypher utility blocking things out on A. This is a good early look, and I love the aggression that they're taking down B long just to set up a player on that cross. And they don't know he's here.
Here comes... That's exactly right. I don't know if they're going to get this first pick, and there it is. Nico's going to get 1 on a long. Nico gets a second. Bankroll's going to pick up 1 right after. Zambi gets another. All up to Ninja, last alive, of course, as the anchor on the other side of the map, but too little too late as they went all in on that long side push, and it did not pay off. And just like that, the round that they bought time in loses as they decided to go all in with a push towards B long, and of course it was Nico with the op that shut it down.
And again, it wasn't just Nico with the op. I think obviously he was the playmaker, but it was the way they positioned Nico there. They caused enough of a ruckus to allow him to cross over to the teleport side of that lane and have that tight angle that they weren't expecting. They used the Sova drone to try to get some information, but the swing was there. I believe he got 2, maybe even 3 kills with it. It was just so well set up.
So it is a mountain to climb right now. Obviously, Bind is defensive heavy as a map, so I don't think it's the end of the world or anything even close to it just yet. No reason to panic if you're a fan of Ninja, of Morgazi, of Grego, and of course the entire time in squad. But certainly a strong start for Down Bad, who really, you looked at time in, the momentum that they had coming into this match. It's hard to call a favorite in this. Oh my gosh, no way. Grego's going to get taken out by an absolute Kobe or Peyton Manning of a grenade coming through from Bankroll.
Yeah, that was pretty. Again, we see some of that. Oh, through the wires. Kurt dashes through with the Blade Storm, able to get a kill up close and personal onto Xander. That's going to provide some room for the Oracle Strike to be used, but Kurt just dances his way around it, gets a kill onto Bancroft as he continues to slice and dice members of Down Bad.
Yeah, and who is it? None other than Kurt to try and shift the fate of this time in squad. Kurt performed so well in both of our matches. Not just another headshot to add insult to injury there from Kurt. Can he get the kill? The last one, another headshot to close that out. That's a thrifty win, courtesy of Kurt with the 4K. Huge plays. I am so incredibly impressed by Kurt. A former member of T1 Apex Legends. He did it in Apex. He does it in Valorant. He's done it time and time again. This tournament, just in the last 2 hours, he's performed so incredibly well. 4 kills right there will turn things around quite a bit with a thrifty win. That was a must-win for time in.
A must-win indeed. Down Bad had roared out of the gates. They had already put up 4 rounds. The nice thing for them is, again, because of the lead that they were able to amass, they don't walk into this next one broke. They're still able to buy full time in with 4 ultimates to work with as well. So they have some options, but they're already getting smoked off down B long. We've seen this look from time in, and last time it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, when they decide to go for it again here. This time, hoping that there's not the op that's going to stare them straight down the barrel. It looks like the ultimate's going to come through from Sova, and Danny's going to connect with one. Danny's been so clutch with the ultimate from Sova. I'm probably one of the higher success rates or kill rates from what I've seen. And now after getting that first pick, they're going to bait over towards B, and they're going to rotate and swing it all the way back to A. And you can see 3 members. One member is Grego, still over here, just pulling aggro and distracting. That means that they're going to have a 4 versus 2 on the other side of the map. That will help them, but it's going to be all members actually recognizing the rotation over to A. Smart decision from down bad, kind of seeing it one step ahead here.
Yeah, and the problem is they're dashing into Cypher utility. We already see Xander get a pick. Morg trades it out as they funnel onto the site. Keep a close eye on the flank, however. Jet in market has a chance for something here.
Yeah, I have been so impressed by Bankroll. Danny's trying to get a plant, baiting it. Ninja's going to clutch up and get one. That was huge. Agility's still alive, and oh my goodness, it's going to be Bankroll's going to get yet another one. Bankroll's been playing incredibly well. MVP of this match so far. 2 versus 1. Ninja, alive. Danny, alive. So we have 4 players on this time-in squad who are former professionals. Guess what? The one that is not, I don't believe, is Danny. 21-year-old software engineer who is kind of the wild card for this team, but a player I've been incredibly impressed with. Well, he's playing up with Ninja, one of the most seasoned players in all of esports, having gone professional in Halo, in H1Z1, in Fortnite, and now in Valorant. So we have to kind of tell of both tales here between the two of them, Danny and Ninja, against a Jet. Jet's going to clutch up with one. Grego's going to close it out, though, and I take that back. I thought it was Ninja, but it was actually going to be Grego who was alive, so all that hype for nothing. Sorry, Grego. I got to put some respect on your name and give you the hype and the gas instead, my friend.
Well, and we saw 2 ultimates used there, and it was a battle of ultimates at the end there. Well, yes, there was one player anchoring down, in U-Haul, but we saw the Blade Storm used, and the Showstopper was used in response. Nico had no choice there because all he had was the operator, so he had to use the Blade Storm. He had to go aggressive there to try to create some space. Goes in, goes aggressive, and gets the kill, but it was huge from Grego to land that Showstopper to trade that kill out and avoid a disastrous situation for time in.
Yeah, that was a wise decision from Grego. You're down by 3 rounds. You see an ultimate pull, just counter that ultimate. If you don't use it, you lose it, is the mentality there. Grego's going to get first blood on Bankroll. That's a big kill based on how Bankroll's been playing. Xander's going to follow up with 2 kills of his own. Ninja pushing up through A short. Trying to find a pick here if possible. Ultimate's going to come through. Ninja spots one over in bathrooms. Wallbang comes through. Wise decision from Ninja. Wallbang headshot is in. 2 versus 3. Ninja needs a clutch. He's going to turn. No, he's not going to do it. Yes, he does. Ninja with the 180 turn on the Brimstone. Beautiful plays, making it a 2v2. And now Morgazi's going to get the plant all the way. They're going to actually call a play over to B side instead. But it's going to be down bad who's all over it. The rotation coming through. It all comes down to this 2 versus 2.
Oh my goodness, that's huge. The shock dart from Agility, but Morg with the spike, he's just gonna take it back, right? He's gonna go all the way back to A with the from the shadows, and that's gonna have down bad in a situation where they have to respond. They're gonna rotate over, but they're gonna be just a bit late to the party. They're gonna use that drone to try to find where Morgazi is, and they didn't spot him, so he's still gonna hold this tight angle, making sure nobody's working their way up through heaven as they creep forward slowly but surely, as he waits just on the other side of U-Haul. Down bad again with the numbers advantage, but the clock continues to tick away. That's, oh my gosh, that dart's going to give him away. Morgazi has to run for the fences. He's going to get dropped. A 1v2 situation. It was clever, a little go back and forth, but he's not going to be able to win the round for time in.
Recon too strong? No, I'm just kidding. Nice job right there from Sova. Obviously with the drone, followed by the dart. Getting the intel needed, and my heart was beating, I think, just as fast and just as loud as Morgazi's was right there. That was such an intense situation. Completely thwarted by a recon arrow. Well done, well placed right there from the Sova on down bad. That was Agility, who, of course, not only had that one dart, also had the shock dart. That was really what made the difference. The kill on Ninja with the long-range shock dart. Ninja obviously was already damaged quite a bit, so even just a little bit of damage in the radius of that shock dart would have done it, and Agility was able to pick up that kill. That was the difference maker.
It was indeed down bad, up big. 3 rounds over the boys in red. This time in, they've found some success, but it has been admittedly mixed on the attacking side. A good tag early on, but again, time in love playing down B long, and the reason they do that is because they have the Cypher playing over by A, and they have that teleport in the back pocket. If they choose to, if they want to, they can go ahead and telly their way through, understanding where safety is, but it seems like this time, time in is very comfortable in pushing their way onto B.
Nico's going to draw first blood with the pick. That's become really synonymous here, as Nico's been playing very, very well as the Opper. A couple first bloods are ready for Nico. Agility, the hero from last round, trying to get a pick as well. Bankroll's going to get one with the ultimate. This should be a down bad round one fairly easily here. Agility's going to get yet another. The defuse is going to come through. And of course, the last member alive for time in, it's going to be Grego. Not much he can do. Defenders will win this one 6-2.
Yeah, they look good, and I think the problem ended up being, while they still had a member, while they still had Ninja working his way through showers up towards A, there wasn't enough information gathered at that moment to understand how many members of Down Bad were playing on that site. So they again, with limited information, decide to commit to B, and Down Bad had the vast majority of their resources there. So they were able to fend off that initial push, retake. It was easy peasy lemon squeezy, and that forces time in into a pretty bad spot here, John. It was Sheriffs and Stingers and not much else.
So, Bind, you mentioned you love casting it. I gotta ask you why. Obviously, it's one of the most defensive-heavy maps. Any other reasons as to why you like Bind? Is it the teleport plays? Is it just the map layout? What is it? As we get a little bit of a pause here, obviously, so just fill some time.
Yeah, John, I'd say so. I think it's the ability for teams, both on the attacking and the defending side, to give different looks without showing much of anything, really. And here's a really good example. Let's break down again. I mentioned it in the moment, but I want to, now that we have a slower moment, I want to break down what we saw from time in there and the different options that they had. So initially, it's a very safe play, right? Push a couple of people up B long, send your Cypher, and it's commonly Cypher or a different Sentinel, but Cypher because of the camera, the ability to get some more information on the site. But you send your Cypher up in through showers towards A. So as the majority of you are working your way at B, you've got options, right? If you sniff your way in and you're like, well, you know, we can't establish control and elbow, or we're seeing too many players, or there's too much utility, or we find out Killjoy's posted up here, something like that, you have the option to go forward or take the teleport. So you have that piece. And on the other side, for the Cypher, his job is to stay alive and to get information. If he spots 2-3 players, or he spots utility, he understands where members are playing, and that tells you a lot about how safe or unsafe the play is towards B. There are just so many options on Bind.
The brilliant breakdown, obviously specific to team compositions. That's why you see a lot of Cypher in play. Thanks for the breakdown, as always. Off this round here, off the pause, it's going to be time in with an aggressive play, obviously trying to pull away around if they can. A thrifty round. This time, they're going to lose their Jet, who was the difference maker last time they were able to get that thrifty win with the 4K coming through from Kurt. So 3 versus 5 now. Sheriff in the hands of Morgazi, as we're currently on board with Omen himself, working their way through showers, but not going to find anyone here. Trying to see if they can sneak a pick, but Down Bad is well aware. I got to say, I've been impressed by Down Bad's defense and by Down Bad's counterplay. They are. It seems like as great of strategy or plays that Timon has been making, rotations, decisions, Down Bad has always reacted quickly. You know, so quickly that the decisions and strategies made by Timon have not necessarily resulted in the fruit that they would have liked.
It's also, I think, interesting to note, as the time continues to narrow down on this round, you take a look at the last big tournament for Valorant, Nerd Street Gamers Winter Championships. This map, Bind, was the most heavily attack-sided of all of the maps in rotation. You take that, sprinkle in a little context of what you're looking at now, things don't look good for the boys over on Time In.
Player standing.
Yeah, it is very true. But we will see if they can try and turn it around here going into defense. They're going to get some plant money in, consolation money, if you will. But it's going to be bankroll shutting down Morgazi there to close out that round, and a round that was really a round one after they got the first 2 picks. Flawless round coming through on the thrifty situation for Time In as they decided to eco. Now they'll be back to full force here as they'll be able to buy. And let's see what they decide to run. They've run a couple of B long pushes to no avail. We'll see if they decide to do it again or if they decide to play over on A side.
Oh, this is a nice.
Yeah, I'd love to see a bit of a split. I'd love to see Raze dropping Roomba into hookah to clear that out, and then spend the rest of your resources up A short. It's very similar to the play we talked about earlier, but what you do is if you're able to establish hookah control, you draw out a ton of utility on A around A short, tele your way through, and then you catch them with their proverbial pants down. So I'd love to see a bit of that, but it seems like for now, they are getting that hookah control, like I mentioned, but there's no presence of A short. They want to go B here.
Yeah, so they're going for the same B long push. Ninja is obviously playing an anchor role, but wise decision from Bankroft, I keep saying Bankroll, sorry, Bankroft and his teammate, Cypher, as they both pushed through showers, took the 2v1 on Ninja, took that numbers advantage, so was able to kind of catch Ninja, the anchor, off guard, pick up a first kill. That's the first blood that they wanted, and that should help them out as they now have the numbers advantage on defense as well. That's a significant advantage in favor of Down Bad here in this round. It's going to require quite the hero play from someone on time in. If it's going to be anyone, it's going to be this guy, Kurt, on this squad.
Yeah, Kurt and Grego had a chance at something special too. I'll break that down in just a moment. For now, Kurt on the swing, as you said, had a chance to make something happen, and so far, the guy delivers. He's got the Blade Storm in his back pocket as well, time in with the numbers advantage, but Down Bad starting to creep their way forward. They're one-dimensional in their retake attempts. They can only funnel their way in through the defending side door, and that causes problems for them, right? Not only are they outnumbered, but Timey know exactly where they're coming in from.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, I gotta say, I said it was gonna be Kurt. It was actually Grego. Danny now getting to pick Kurt in the last one, but shout out to Greg, who's gonna be the one that actually got the first kill. That first kill was the most important kill to make it a 4v4. Kurt followed up. Greg got the third. Danny got the fourth, and Kurt closed it out. It was kind of the kill order right there. So well done. That's a big round for time in. Despite losing one early, they're able to clutch that up. You already know Ninja, the hype man himself, is getting his team hyped after that one. That was a very, very important round win for time in. They are now down 7-3. We'll see if they can sneak a few here. Last time they won one, they got a round right after, but the economy is too strong here for Down Bad, so it's going to be tough to do it again. But they do have a couple ultimates to play with. They got an ultimate in the hands of Raze, an ultimate in the hands of Jet, so a pair of ultimates for the duelists.
Yeah, so John, this is the exact same look that we saw from time in the last round. The difference is Grego went huge, not because of his ability to get kills, but because of where he was able to control the map. He got into hookah, and that was huge. Hookah presence and B long essentially opens up the site for you. The one difference that we're seeing here is while Grego once again was able to take hookah control, the rest of time in has not been able to work their way up B long. Nico's been waiting with an op on the other side. There's really no way for them to funnel in, so they have to turn away.
Yeah, that's what's been working so well. That's why I kind of mentioned you can't get too excited if you're a fan of time in because Down Bad has such high economy. Looks like they're going to execute on A short though, so they baited it long. Nice pick from Kurt. Are you kidding me? Kurt, you are insane. He gets the 2K first on the ultimate in the hands of Raze. Second connects for a nice flick of the wrist there. Beautiful plays from Kurt. He does it again, and now a 5 versus 3 for time in.
Okay. He still has an opportunity to make something happen. I like the one ways he's trying to set up. You already see the difference in the jet nerfs. He swings, Nico greets him, agility gets in on the action as well as he gets one. Nico trying to continue to push the matter as the spike has gone down and continues to tick away. U-Haul presence in favor of Down Bad, but there's the showstopper. It is gonna connect onto agility, but he doesn't know Nico's there. Life packs across. Nico's able to get the shots anyway. Drops things down to a 1v1. Nico wisely saving a couple of blades. Cloudburst is there, but Ninja through the smoke lands the shots to give time in the round.
Jiminy Cricket's Batman is all I got on this. I'm not that corny, but that in that round was just absolutely insane. I had to drop the most corny line I think I've ever dropped in my life casting. I'm not going to lie to you. That was probably it. Wow. What a round that was. Back and forth. Agility and Nico played that so well as a duo. Obviously, playing off of the op pick from Nico. Agility follows up, keeps Nico alive. Nico drops the operator, picks up a Vandal instead, and they continue to work their way through, but it was the ultimate from Grego that was able to shut things down, and ultimately Ninja in a 1 versus 1 with the through the smoke spray and pray, connects for the kill. That was an insane back and forth type round.
It was, and while the ending was insane and it was unpredictable, this round, the beginning, has been very predictable. As once again, we're seeing Timon show the same look, right? They clear hookah, they get in, and then they look to push down B long. Nico's there, Operator's there. All right, we can't go this way. Let's get the heck out. The one difference is you don't see Cypher, or excuse me, you don't see Ninja taking as aggressive of a position. He's not getting any information here. All he knows is that nobody pushed his way in through showers, right? They could still be waiting in showers. They don't know how many people are sitting on the site either. They know that the Operator was over at B long. I believe they saw the drone as well, but that was it.
Yeah, it's going to be the same A-short execute from coming through from Timon. It worked last round. They tried to do it again. The difference is, well, this time they didn't have an ultimate in the hands of Kurt. That's going to be a round one very quickly. If you blinked, you missed it for down bad to close out the first half. Well played from Timon to slowly bring that one back, but you got to say kudos to down bad. Really, it was the first round that was clutched by Zambi, the Brimstone, in a 1-versus-1 against Grego. You thought he was faking it. Instead, he stuck the defuse in round number 1, and since then they just took momentum. In round 2, it was Timon that took a little bit of a risk, deciding not to eco, deciding to force, and got punished as a result. They ended up losing 4 straight rounds, and that put them in a bit of a deficit. But then Timon was able to bounce back with at least 4 rounds won. The question is, can they do it now in turn, in reverse here in the second half?
There.
It's a big ask again. The map, given the data from the most recent large tournament, is heavily attack favored. Like the most heavily attack favored of all of the maps in the rotation. So down bad, you presume, right? Conventional wisdom suggests that down bad should be able to put the finishing touches on this. But as we've said a number of times in this broadcast, you can't count Timon out. You just can't.
Yeah, you know, one thing I have to say, I've been obviously keeping up with, we talk about him often, everyone knows him, but I've been keeping up with Grego, Ninja, Morgazi, and Kurt for a few years, but Ninja since the Halo days. And to understand how Ninja has continued to evolve as a leader, an emotional leader. He's been here before. He's been down in series, whether it was in Halo or H1 or the like. He's been in this situation. However, when you're playing against a red-hot Agility who's connecting for more and more kills, it's tough to shut that down. And now it is, again, the inverse scenario. It is Ninja, none other than him and his teammate in Danny that need to clutch this one up. Much like Down Bad did the 2v3 round the first time, Ninja has to do it here. It's not going to happen, though. Nico's going to shut it down. They win round number 1. You thought that maybe, just maybe, I was going to bring that into existence. I was going to manifest that, but unfortunately it didn't happen.
You had me convinced for a minute there. I thought for sure it was going to have. But look, here's what we just saw out of Down Bad was a different flavor than what we saw from Timon on the attacking side. A blast pack, heavy presence up A short, right? Bancroft worked his way in. He was able to get a couple of opening picks, and then Timon on that retake, they played that so aggressively that when you saw them go into U-Haul, they held W, right? That was all they did. They were just going to run at them, and of course they're just going to get mowed down by a frenzy there. So Timon had a chance maybe to get something going. They had some information, unfortunately come up just a bit short.
Yeah, that just increases the deficit to 5 rounds now. On defense, though, on a slightly defensive-sided map, or probably one of the most defensive-sided maps, it is certainly possible. But the way that Agility's playing, the way that Bancroft is playing, this duo over here in Hookah, it's going to be tough to do. Ninja left to defend against them over in Hookah by himself. He's actually going to try and hold his ground. 3 opponents in front of him in Hookah, but he has some support. It's Danny, as they're just hiding currently. Not trying to reveal their location and just staying put, deciding to hold his ground.
And while Down Bad keep Ninja and Danny entertained, the spike has made its way into the site, John, and it's done it through B long. They were able to get all of the kills they wanted on the site as well. Xander gets in on the action. It's just one player rotating. It's Morgazi. He does get one with the Stinger, finds himself in a 1v2. The problem is, he's insanely weak, and Bancroft is still alive. The man's been single-handedly terrorizing Timon and the members of that roster, but we'll see if Morgazi can make anything happen here.
Yeah, I called him bankroll for the first, 8 rounds of this game because I'm an idiot and I can't read, but really he's been bankrolling the entire team. And, of course, he's going to continue, but obviously Morgazi was weak. Now, round number 2 of this match, the forced buy came in from time in. They decided to go with the forced buy and ended up kind of hurting them. Obviously, don't blame them for forced buying right there. You're down, you're on defense, down 9-4, 5-round deficit. You absolutely have to force buy. It was just Down Bad, who continues to play well. And despite how great Timon has been against Snowmen and against Complexity, a team as great as Complexity, Down Bad's just looking great. I have to give kudos where kudos are due. Bancroft, Nico, the 2 duelists on this team have been playing well. But then when you have Agility and Xander right behind them also playing great, playing nearly as aggressive and as good as the duelists, it's hard to stop.
It is hard to stop indeed, as we've seen. Timon hasn't been able to do much of it. I love that, though. An early Paranoia down through a short. The paint cans to follow up. Xander's taken out early on. They also invested a bit of a shock dart to try to create some room, but Grego and Morg, they're getting something going here.
And a flawless round going to come in from Timon. We've called a few of these rounds in this match must-wins. I will continue with that theme because that certainly was. Going down 11-4 would have been very, very difficult, but Timon's going to secure it. They're going to get a flawless win. That's going to give them a chance here. And an operator in the hands of Kurt. And, of course, the rest of the team will pick up some assault rifles as well to boot. So that puts Timon in a situation here where they can potentially use this op in the hands of Kurt, who really has been the tip of the spear for this team to snowball a little bit. I got to give kudos as well to Grego. Obviously, duelists on both sides are doing their jobs, are the ones that are fragging. But, you know, it's really been the Grego and the Kurt show in terms of breaking ice, getting first blood, and turning things around in the rounds that have gone well for Timon.
So Down Bad, every round so far, has had Bancroft drop the Roomba to clear out hookah. And that's often a cue that you want to do something over on that space, or over on that half of the map. But this time what we're seeing, it's a slightly different flavor from Down Bad is they did that, but everything was over in showers. There's your showstopper. It's going to be used. Nico is able to trade it out as he gets 2 of his own. Zambi gets in on it as well. Timon's last remaining members are on the other side of the map. They're going to have to rotate over, and they're outnumbered.
It was a 3v3, and that pick on Zambi over Danny did the difference. Nice job from Zambi to connect and get the pick that might have just secured them the round, unless Ninja and Kurt can do anything about it. We all know how nasty Kurt has been all day long. He's playing on fire. A Brimstone smoke is going to go down, but look how far back. Look how much space is being created from Down Bad. Wisely so. You have a Brimstone on your team. Not sure if that Brimstone has an ultimate. I'm assuming the answer to that question is yes, which is going to make it quite a bit difficult here for the Timon squad, who might just decide to save, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, they do have to, and even so, Brim doesn't have the ult, but they do have all of the angles. They do have all of the firepower, and Timon, it was just so tough. Again, given how tight this map has been, or excuse me, how strong this map has been in favor of Down Bad, they have to take those weapons into the next round. Right? You can't really risk it. Even if it's just a narrow 3v2, take the guns into the next one.
I need this.
Yeah, especially if since Kurt's still alive with the op as well. That's kind of, especially the op costing more money now than it did months ago. It's the wisest decision. Now, SMGs are going to be force bought. Ninja's actually going to give one to Grego, who's been, obviously his entry fragger, his duelist. That's a wise decision. Danny and Morgazi going to have an SMG, a Stinger as well. I want to quickly point out, though, the strategy we saw that last round from Down Bad. They ran 3 showers, so they baited actually a shot by Kirk getting the first pick, but they actually baited the hookah play with the same exact Roomba that was placed in hookah, stayed patient, and then executed from showers to A with aggression. Despite the ultimate and hearing that ultimate, they stayed confident. Grego was only able to get 1 with that ulti, and as a result, it was Down Bad that was able to win that round. But it's all about this round now. Bancroft is going to neutralize, and just like that, Ninja's going to pop through. Oh my gosh, unfortunate for Ninja. Not able to connect. 4 HP for Agility. You got to be kidding me. As he made the wise decision, the confident decision, but unfortunately, the cookie didn't crumble his way.
Yeah, and that's got to be frustrating for Ninja, because that's the right call. That's the right thing to do there. Swing, knowing that the Sova's going to be in a situation like that. Unfortunately, didn't plan for there to be a bit of backup artillery in that situation. Ninja drops, as do 2 other members of Timon. Down Bad in control, and again, this is what I've been talking about the majority of the night. Take a look at how Down Bad is posted up. They've got the spike down, but John, they're nowhere near the damn thing. Because even if things go sideways, They've got the Hunter's Fury further diffused back towards behind Ace Showers. Fortunately, they don't have to use it. Xander is able to hold fast. They get down bad to match point.
Match point.
Yeah, and obviously they had the grenade from the Raze and Bancroft. They also had the Molly coming through from Zambi. That's why Brimstone is so good, and despite the fact that Brimstone kind of fell out of meta for a little while before the buff came through, you can't deny that Brimstone and the ability to leverage a Molly, the Brimstone ultimate that's going to pop here after one more ult point for Zambi, that alone can guarantee you rounds, and especially avoiding a retake. So Brimstone cannot be slept on, especially now that smokes have been buffed quite a bit, and it's good to see some good Brimstone play here in this tournament. We haven't seen a whole lot of it necessarily, as now we're on board with Bancroft, who has a hot hand right now. Bancroft still playing inside Hookah. This time it's going to be Nico who gets the pick on Grego. And this is match point right now. Down bad trying to close it out. Ninja going to get tagged up a bit, at least wall banged. And that's going to be a pick. Bancroft is playing out of his mind right now.
Bancroft is one bad dude, John. I mean, it's just unreal. Now he's going to take that topper into the site, blast pack his way through, and again, Timon just has to give it some respect. There's only one member left in a 1v5. He's going to get mowed down. Ladies and gentlemen, Down Bad qualify for the main event.
Bancroft or Flights right there with some of that movement. A little cheeky cheat. No, I'm just kidding. Nice job and congratulations. You hit the nail on the head and you had the perfect call. Congratulations to Down Bad. They will do it. They will qualify through to join the likes of the winners bracket qualifying teams, Elysium and Balanced Esports. And of course, our last matchup is Cloud9 and Big Frames, which is off stream, but we'll keep you updated as that match gets updated and finalized to see who's going to make it through between that matchup. But what a day it has been. And what a qualifier series. I'm glad we had a chance to cast it, Doug. Talking about that last matchup, though, was it really just the fact that Time In started slow, or do you think that Down Bad was purely just the better team?
It's tough to conclude that second point, but I think there is a lot to be said about how Time In played that first half. They were one-dimensional. Every look was the same. Right, they have Ninja lurk over towards Showers or back in Spawn. They invest heavy down B long, and there was just I think we saw that look, and Down Bad saw that look so many times that they were just able to respond with it and deal with it. And I think once Time In realized that Down Bad kind of had their number, it was a bit too late. They didn't adjust, or they weren't able to adjust to kind of account for that, and the deficit they found themselves in was too deep. And then to pile it on, Down Bad played the attacking side masterfully, right? Just think about how many fakes we saw as they took Hookah control, or when they dropped Roomba and then to suggest that they wanted to take Hookah control and go down B long, but then they invested everything up A short. They showed so many different looks that Down Bad just played behind really well. Yeah,
they absolutely did. There's something scary of this perfect storm, right? When you're firing on all cylinders as individual players, you're all playing lights out, which really was the case. It didn't matter if it was Xander or anyone else. They all played so well, and you're definitely rotating well as a team, running great strats, playing the map well. Kudos to them, as we will now say one final time. Listen, every single one of y'all in the stream, $5,000 will be added to the existing $10,000 prize pool. So don't forget to hit up Twitter, hit up TikTok, and help support this prize pool and the players competing next week. And of course, I did mention it earlier, we are going to be announcing the winner of our final finalist. Will it be Cloud9 White, who we saw on stream earlier, or will it be their opponents here in the losers bracket, Big Frames? Keep up with us on Twitter at WSOE. We'll let y'all know, as of course Cloud9 White has a bit of a challenge ahead of themselves in the losers bracket semifinal. But again, a massive thank you to every single one of y'all for hanging out with us tonight. What a great preview that this was. Doug, any final thoughts from you, my friend, before we close the show out?
I just love Valorant, man. I love Valorant so much. It's so much fun. Thank you for having me on the show. John, thank you for sharing the mic with me. And then thank you to everyone who tuned in for joining us for these last couple hours. It was a blast, and there's really no other way I'd rather spend what day of the week is it? I don't know. COVID has me all messed up. I don't
Wednesday?
know what day of the week. Wednesday, thank you. There's no other way I'd rather spend a Wednesday evening. Thank you so much.
Hey, right back at you, man. Couldn't agree more. A big shout out to every single one of y'all on the stream hanging out. We'll see you guys next week for the main event January 26th. It will be a Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Set your calendars. We'll have our top 4 finalists competing in that tournament. We couldn't be more excited for that. As we, again, thank you for watching. We will catch you next time for some more Valorant action. This is WSOE Online 5 Valorant. We'll see you next week, January 26th. Good night, everybody.